All right, all right, all right. Shalom, saints. Shalom to everybody that's online. As you are slowly coming on in, you know the rules, man. Wipe your feet before you come on in. Hit the like button. Make sure that the algorithm is aware that you're here and you're in here to learn the truth. You know, as you see the title, the July 4th, July 4th exposed, right? So we're going to obviously talk about July 4th, man. Look at a little history. Look at some things that kind of help us tie into the fact of understanding why our people should not be engaging in so-called Independence Day. I mean, what independence was it for our people? That's the first question you got to ask. You got to look at the date, 1776. Were we independently free? Did we have independent liberties? Did we have independent? Were we independent of our former oppressions? No, to all of the above. So how can we correlate ourselves in being quote unquote free or being part of this establishment, right? Give me Colossians 2:8. Let's start there. We're just going to get a few, get some scriptures, you know, to kind of obviously compound the fact of why we shouldn't be following after this madness. That's number one. If it's not according to the word of the Lord, man, you got to question it. Colossians 2nd chapter and the 8th verse.
The book of Colossians chapter 2 verse 8. Beware.
Hold on. First thing that said is beware. That means be cautious, be alert, be vigilant, pay attention. That's one thing our people do not do. That's the gift and the curse of being a sheep. You know, is that we're so quick to follow, but sometimes we don't actually stop and say, where are we going? You have what's known as a Judas goat. I brought that out a long time ago. The Judas goat is the goat that leads all the other goats to slaughter. It's one goat that goes out and is the leader. All the other sheep and goats follow it, and they the one that's being used to lead them to the slaughter. That's why it takes after the moniker of Judas Iscariot. But they use that in terminologies of farming and herding, right? The Lord told us, he said, beware. That means we have to be cautious about what we're following, what we're bringing into our lives as far as righteousness, worship, and truth. Okay. So beware. Read on.
Lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
Philosophies and vain deceit. We're talking about the wisdom and the knowledge of the world, philosophically, you know, thoughts of men. We have to be cautious of where these things are stemming from. And it said, are they vain lies? Are they lies of vanity? Worthless lies. If we're talking about Independence Day and we're talking about the establishment of the quote unquote founding fathers, if you even acknowledge those terms, you're off. How can they say they found this country when clearly there were inhabitants here that had civilizations, that had systems of farming, agriculture, that had a language, they had construction and buildings here. And then the white man come over and say, look what we found. And we're the birth fathers of this. If you go along with that scenario, that is vain deceit. And that compounds the fact of going into July 4th, 1776. They want to talk about the independence and the separation of America and gaining its independence from King George and Great Britain. What did that have to do with the Negroes and the Native Americans, who they called Indian savages in the Constitution? We're going to get that up. We're going to pull that up. They don't even want to talk about that. See, the white man that tries to protect the Constitution, the ones that's out there, you know, making their proudful boast about, well, if it wasn't for the white Christians, slavery would still be going on. I mean, what you want, a pat on the back for doing the right thing? I mean, give me a break. Look, we help. You ain't help. The Most High is the one that dictated our cursings and how we were going to progress up out of it. And he already said that he was going to make the white man seek to please the poor and do everything else, man, to get our favor. So we're not patting you. We're not giving you no kudos and no congratulations and big thanks, you know, for helping us. And you didn't really help us, because as we're going to see, right after so-called slavery was over, then we're going into indentured servitude, then we get into Jim Crow, then we get into Dred Scott, then we get into up until this day. We just talked about it early out on the streets, man. A brother in Ohio just got shot by the police 90 times. 90 times. I didn't even pull that out last night. I should have. But 90. See, now I'm in DSTM mode. Where was he at? Hold on. Let me see. And the Negro's gonna go out there and already got the pork slab ribs marinating right now. Hold on. Black man in Ohio. If I could type. Okay, here we go. Let me share this with y'all real quick. Where is he at? Oh no, they're saying 60. I mean, get look. You can see all the conflicting stories. It's not sharing. It should in a second. I think it's a little delay. Okay, Jalen Walker. As you can see here, Ohio police officer shot fleeing black man dozens of times. That's from Reuters. Penn Live says rallies planned for Jalen Walker, Ohio man who family attorney says police shot 60 times. The Mirror says black man dies after being shot 60 times by cops in a traffic stop. But look at the article below. 90 shots. So which one was it? Oh, they say he was shot at 90 times. They hit him 60. Oh, they had mercy on him, huh? I mean, and this is what our people is getting ready to go barbecue and toast a drink to tomorrow when this is still going on. In Akron, where's LeBron at? This is his hometown, isn't it? Well, how come he's not pulling out his little activism card and getting out there? And if he is, I apologize because I ain't seen it. But if somebody tell me, is LeBron out there talking about this? Akron is his hometown. No, you don't hear about LeBron. LeBron's worried about what's going to happen to the team. Let's go back over here to Colossians. Pick it up from the top, verse 8.
Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men.
After the tradition of men. So when we're looking at, be it religiously, philosophically, if anything is rooted after the ways of men, even if we're talking about religions, when did God give us these particular denominations? Where's that at? Where's the Catholics? Where's the Methodists? Where's the Episcopalian, Seventh-day Adventist? Where's all that at? Those are all after the works of men, right? Then when we're seeing all these particular traditions that's going on, your quote-unquote holiday traditions, our people just blindly follow. They just go along with the program. They don't even stop and question why we celebrate it. The Negro just happy to have the day off, but then still do the traditional things that happen. You had that one 10 tribe brother, Southern Kingdom Cap, man. He had damn near a ton of fireworks and got in LA last year, and then the police blew it up and then blew up half the block. This is the type of fire that's going on. That one football player, he was out playing with fireworks and blew off his fingers.
They just caught another truck the other day in Azusa.
Really? Smuggling in bombs just so they can light up their streets and make a killing, selling this stuff on the streets. The Lord said, after the tradition of men, go ahead.
After the rudiments of the world.
After the rudiments of the world, after the ways of the world, after the instructions of the world. 1776, the word that's of the world. That's not of the Most High. That don't have nothing to do with us. But our people just can't put down the damn chicken and the ribs and the burgers and the sparklers for 1 minute to say, can I do without this year? Can I just leave this alone? Or are you too busy about tradition, about your family coming together, about who's bringing the drinks? That's all our people are concerned with. We're so beat down in hell, so catching so much with these curses that we just want a little comfort. We just want a little break. Well, the Lord said you get a break every week. It's called a Sabbath. You get another one once a month called a new moon. 5 times out the week, out the month, the Most High says you can come together You can feast, you can be merry, you can actually sup and learn of my word, you can actually commune, you can hang out. I mean, how much more partying do you want? 5 times a month, the most I said it. You want to wait one time a year. Or you rather wait till the first of the year. You want, what is it? New Year's. Then you wait for Martin Luther King. Then you want Valentine's Day. You wait till the white man dictates every bit of your life. And never stop to say, is this a tradition of men? Is this after the rudiments of the world? Did God say that this is okay? No, you just go along with the program. So the Lord said, beware of this. You have to be cautious. You have to be in the spirit of knowing what you're doing and what you're involving yourself in, what you're involving your kids in. You're raising your kids up into believing that a fat white man is sliding down the chimney somehow, lubed up to come down and eat your damn cookies and milk. And Negroes living in apartments. Where's the chimney at? Telling your kids, take your tooth out and put it underneath the pillow so the tooth fairy can leave you a couple dollars. Raising the kids on lies, you're going to raise monsters. Because once they come up and all they learn is the lie, and then when you start disciplining them for lying, they're going to say, well, you told me lies first. I learned from you. You told me January 1st was a new year. You told me that bunnies lay eggs. You told me that the truth fairy exists. And then when they go out there stealing, lying, robbing, and killing, and then you wondering why, the kids and the youth was just destroyed. Well, look where it starts. Following after traditions can be very dangerous. If it's not the traditions of Israel, what's found in the book of the Most High, then obviously we got to stray away from it. So it says, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit after tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and what?
And not after Christ.
And not after Hamashiach Yahushua. Not after Christ, right? So you got to wonder, you think Christ was worried about, he was fighting for independence. He was fighting for separation from Rome. He was fighting for our people to gain independence through the laws and the commandments and repenting. Why do you think he was strung up and put to death? They charged him with sedition, right? So sedition means that you were deliberately anti-government. You're going against the establishment. That was criminal. And if you're looking at July 4, 1776, the slaves were to be taking the position of Christ, bucking against the establishment and the government. And now all of a sudden you want to be a part of it. You want to assimilate into these whack traditions that have nothing to do with us. Let's go to 2 Peter. 2 Peter 3, we're going to read 15 to 18.
So 2 Peter 3.
2 Peter, 3. And let's read 15 down to 18.
Verse 15. And account that the long suffering of our Lord is salvation, even as our beloved brother Paul, also according to the wisdom given unto him, hath written unto you, as also in all his epistles, speaking in them of these things, in which are some things hard to be understood.
So we're looking at the knowledge of salvation and said it came through the wisdom that Paul was writing to our people. So when we're reading these epistles, when we're getting the knowledge that's coming from the word of the Lord, we're supposed to be accumulating wisdom. Our learning is supposed to be of wisdom and knowledge, understanding. If you're blindly going along, following after these traditions, and you can't find an ounce of wisdom and knowledge behind them, then you need to leave them alone. Because it's not rooted after the things that we're supposed to be learning of that leads to our salvation. Our people was looking for salvation and freedom from bondage and oppression during those times. They wasn't out there, man, talking about, Master, what we cooking tonight? Master, we show is free now. Good thing we getting independence too, right, boss? You ain't getting none of that at all. That was not a shared independence. Go ahead.
Which they that are unlearned and unstable rest, as they do also the other scriptures unto their own destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Ye therefore, beloved, seeing ye know these things before, beware lest ye also being led away with the error of the wicked.
See, and that's what happened. The churches is not even trying to rebuke our people and tell them don't involve themselves in it. It was years ago, man. Brothers went out to and confronted some Christians that was out selling fireworks. The churches aren't talking about these things, telling our people that this is after the rudiments of the world. This isn't after Christ. You shouldn't be doing that. Stay inside. Be safe. Don't involve yourself with that matters. No, they're trying to tell people come and watch the fireworks show at the church. Telling the kids come on over in the church parking lot. We're going to be lighting up. If you're going to do it, be safe with us here at the church. I remember old church when I was in the world. They had what's his name? Chip Murray. And he had a service for Thanksgiving. And he switched the name, called it Thanksgiving. And tried to say that, it was about thanking the Lord for living. We don't care. We're not talking about all that stuff that happened in the past. It's Thanksgiving time. I see, if you don't knock it off, man. See, that's the unlearned wrestling. As they do with the other scriptures unto their own destruction. As they want to try to twist and turn to try to satisfy the people. Don't want them to break from their tradition because you don't want to rock the boat. I gotta wait for Shalom, man. He said that Creflo Dollar came out and said that he made errors by collecting tithes. And he's not apologizing for it, but he's not gonna be doing it no more.
Wait, he just now finding it out?
Well, listen, he's just now admitting to his crimes.
It took him long enough.
Listen, he made enough. He said, I'm not apologizing, it helped me get where I'm at. But now he's not repenting from it. He's not gonna get the money back. I mean, these wicked, man, cottonmouth snakes out here, man.
Looks like that one that said, don't be talking about my wife. I know she's 18 years old, but if you have anything to say.
Who said that?
Pastor,
Oh, my
an
God.
18-year-old.
Really?
I
ain't hear about that one, but good Lord. Let me get rid of this thing. That's wild.
Got some charlatans.
Really. Finish that up.
For being led away with the error of the wicked, fall from your own steadfastness.
See, being led away by the error of the wicked man, you're being led into wickedness, not stopping and actually pumping the brakes and saying, what are we into? Why are we doing this? Is there anybody ever stopped? When I was in the world keeping 4th of July, I never even concerned myself, but why? What is this about? What's the history behind it? Didn't even care. It was just about having fun, popping fireworks, eating and getting full, getting drunk, shooting off pistols, doing whatever. And then you don't realize, man, I just engaged in a bunch of wickedness and vain deceits and lies, man, and I got led into wickedness. Go ahead.
But grow in grace and in the knowledge of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Right.
To him be glory both now and forever. Amen.
Right. See, so the glory's got to be unto Mashiach Yahweh. It's got to be to Christ, right? So at the end of the day, we just got to reading it. If it didn't have anything to do with Christ, then you got to get rid of it. That's the only way you're going to receive true honor and true glory. Okay. Jump over to Job 8 and 8. Let's get a couple of the classic history scriptures so that we know why we have to look into these things before blindly just jumping in and engulfing ourselves in all manner of wickedness. You could be just attaching yourself, guilty by association, getting slaughtered. Watch how many people die. Every weekend, Chicago especially, shootouts go crazy over there. I'm waiting to see the death toll come Monday.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, my sister.
As you were speaking, I was thinking about, and I never thought about it. I came to the truth. It's like we never questioned why. First were colored, then were Negroes, then were African Americans, and no one else is just ours.
Right.
And then we say, okay, coming to the truth, and it's like knowing that we are not those people, and people are bucking up against. Are you crazy?
Right.
It's like
see,
it's sad. I mean, it's sad.
You're exactly right. I mean,
so sad.
we're the only one, like you said,
wake up.
the only ones who have historically had identities changed
Absolutely.
a number of times. I mean, look, if you say Negro, colored, black, African American, Afro American, colored. I don't know if I said colored. I mean, I'm already at 6. And that's within the last 70, 80 years. 6 times. I mean, it's damn near every decade they change it. Just because I guess Jesse Jackson came up with, African American in 85 or 86, I think it was. I guess they're letting that stay.
And we don't question it. That's the thing. It's like I didn't question it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, African American.
Yeah.
You know?
Right,
And
right. You just
think
go
about
with
it.
it.
When you like wake up, you're like, are you serious?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There you go. So, it's just a matter of trying to understand and saying at what point in time we're going to actually stop and say, where's this train going? You got me on here. I'm riding. Before it crashes, let me get off and figure this thing out. Job 8:8.
Book of Job, chapter 8, verse 8. For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers.
Right. So the scriptures are telling us, inquire, I pray thee, of the former age. And inquire about the search of our fathers, meaning that we have to go back and seek out our history, our ancestry. We got to go back and seek out history. We got to get the word from the elders. We got to get the oral traditions. We got to get the statutes and how these things played out. So we can't go into this thing blindly and trying to figure out, well, what's the history behind these particular days? Once you understand and say, well, did this have anything to do with this? No. Okay, well, then I'm not doing that. That had nothing to do with me. You got to be selfish. There's no more melting pot. There's no more. We haven't been accepted as a part of the pot at all. It looked like I froze up. Okay, there we go. The internet's kind of slowing up. Sloggy for the pausing, y'all. It's watching online. The internet connection is kind of fading in and out. So just bear with it. It'll be all right. All right, was that it? All right, jump over to Romans 15 in the 4th verse.
The book of Romans, chapter 15, verse 8. Now I say that Jesus Christ was a minister of
15 and 4. What else? I said 8. My bad.
Salakia. Verse 4.
Uh-huh.
For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning.
Anything that was written, documented, completed by the prophets of old, it was written for our learning, right? So anything that we read about that comes out of the word of the Most High, then we have to take into account and abide by them things and not sit back and say, you know what, I'm going to leave that alone. It was a cat out there today. I was showing him, I was holding up, the fake Christ, the Caesar Borgia. And he said, what is that? Why are you guys holding that up? I said, well, who is this on here? He said, oh, that's Jesus. I said, well, who told you that? Oh, everybody. I said, okay. If I can show you in the Bible where this is not what he looked like and show you his true depiction and give you the history behind who this person that everybody told you this, would you believe it and listen? He said, yeah. I said, okay, let's go to the Bible. I got to go. I mean, I get it. It took 10 seconds before he said, I got to go. I got to go. I said, brother, you just said, if I show you, you're going to listen and you'll believe it. But he didn't want to be held accountable.
He wanted to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, he didn't want that. But see, that's why the Lord said, anything that's written aforetime was for our learning. He'd rather stay dumb. He didn't want to learn. But that's the same thing. If you tell our people about these false traditions and these folly days that's going on, and you want to tell them the truth and break free from them, leave them alone, they don't want to do it because, you know what? I'm a disappointed family. And if I got to tell Big Mama, we're not coming over for the fireworks show no more, me and the kids and wife, we're not coming by. It's tradition. Boy, you better bring your ass over. You know how that plays out. My grandbaby, they all of a sudden, yeah, it's my grandbaby. You bring my grandbabies over here. I always make my pecan pie and all. And he said, no more pecan pie, no more fireworks. We're done. Maybe I'll see you. Yashar, there's no connection, brother. It's just a play on words. It's just a play on words, brother, for the title. There's no Jewish connection to it, bro. Just a play on words for the title, man.
Oh, you spelled it J.
Yeah. I'm just saying the Jew lied, man. The Jews got lied to, brother. That's all. The Jews got lied to about that day and what it means for our independence. Finish that in Romans.
For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
See, our hope is supposed to be in these scriptures. Patiently, we have to endure. Patiently, we have to seek out the ways of the Most High. Patiently, we have to come back and learn the right way. We got deceived. We've been following out the wrong ways. We just got to humbly understand it and say, look, this isn't part of our tradition. This isn't part of our ways. We got deceived. We got to break free from it. Forget about what your family says. Too bad. There's not going to be no more Christmas. There's no more Thanksgiving, no more Julys, no more New Year's. No more Easter egg hunts. I mean, that's just got to be it. You got to lay down the law. You got to stand on something. Eventually, you're going to fall for anything. Well, it's too late for falling for anything. Our people's already did that. Your only other option now is to stand up now and stand on something, right? So, one more. Jeremiah 6, and let's read 16. Jeremiah 6 and 16. And then Isaiah 8 and 20.
Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 16. Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way, and walk therein?
So at some point in time, man, our people got to stand aside and say, well, where's the right way at? We've been following them the wrong way for a long time now. I need to know what the old path is. And if that's the good way, let me follow after that. We followed after enough of the ways that led our people astray, led our people to further destruction, led our people to more torment, more hell, more oppression, more prison houses, more poverty, more drugs, more, fornication, adultery. I mean, the list goes on and on of the transgressions of our people. Now we got to find the old path, man, the good way, and walk therein. Go ahead.
And ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein.
You see that? Our people want rest for our souls, but then you tell them the way that you're going to get it, they say, we don't want it. We don't want it that way. There's got to be another way to get to it. I can't purchase it. Well, the rich man told us that it's not attained. You can't get it by wealth and gold. You saying, well, can I, maybe for a sister, can I seduce somebody? Can I get a man to do my bidding to get into the kingdom? No, you can't get it that way. No rest for your soul is going to come that way. Our people think resting for our souls is being strung out on fentanyl and weed, and that's the only relief that they get. And that's what I was saying earlier. We go through so much curses and so much issues, and we just want that escapism. We just want a break. And the white man said, well, I'll give you a break. You just gotta wait until July 4th, and you can celebrate with me. It don't have nothing to do with you. And please don't find out the history about what I was doing to you during that time. But just go along with the program. That's not the good path. That's not the right way. That's not how we're going to get rest for our souls. And then the hard-headed, stiff-necked Israelite says, well, I'm still not going to do it that way. There's got to be another way. You guys are a cult. You guys are a hate group. You guys aren't teaching the truth. My pastor told me, your pastor's been telling you lies ever since you sat your butt in the pew, and you haven't stopped to question him. That's one thing, man. Even when, like you may mention with the identity crisis with our people, and even when you're looking at, okay, let's just say for argument's sake, those people are the real people. They still hold the same values that we do. We're the chosen. The rest of you are goyim, or you're Gentiles and heathen. They just don't boastfully say it unless you go over there and have to deal with them. Nobody condemns them. Nobody gets on their head. Nobody tells them you're not right. You're not special. And no Christians is over there riding on them, going to their temples and telling them, hey, we've been grafted in. We're coming into the kingdom with you. And they're not professing Christ to them. They're not telling them that you're anti-Christ because you don't even believe in the Messiah. That's why some of them are switched up, and now you got Jews for Jesus and all of that. They don't get the same hell. But as soon as a Negro pop up and say, no, I'm the chosen, I'm the Jew. Oh, heck no. We'll accept anything but you. You niggas can't be you can't be the people. You can't say that you the chosen. I mean, that's the hypocrisy that goes on in this place, man. We don't have the connection or the complexion for the connection when it comes down to seeking favor of these nations. That's why we just have to separate and leave them alone.
But that's because we know that we are, because the way they respond to us, because they know that we are.
That's right. That's right. And it's like, how did you find that out? And we got to discourage anything that you come up with to make you not believe no more.
That's right.
You're Sharkhan. All right. That's right. That's right. Our people are always looking to celebrate and party, man. We love to turn up, man. But when it comes to turning up for the Lord and doing the right thing, we don't want to do it. We don't want to do it. Let me share a couple of articles with y'all. Let me jump back over here. So let's look at what they declared. Hold on. How about this? Now, this is archives.gov, the Declaration of Independence. It's a transcript from July 4th, 1776, right? This is the Constitution itself. Let's find out, did this have anything to do for our people, man? Was this for us? Now, here we go. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events, now, first of all, how did they get these 13 states? Did they just ask for them? Did they really find them? Did they negotiate for them? Or did they actually kill, rob, murder, steal, kidnap, run the indigenous tribes up out of there? So now they're claiming they got the 13 states. Okay. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another. So what's wrong with that when we're talking about our need for independence from this government, from the lies and the oppressions that the so-called white man has put upon us? This is what they stand on. Separation, dissolving away from things that ain't right. If we're talking about systematic racism, the prison industrial complex, if we're seeing that the wealth gap in order to close between the so-called blacks and the white man will take over 200 years, that's obviously something's wrong. And we're not afforded the same liberties. I just brought out the article last night. R. Kelly gets 30 years for his abominable crimes. And then the white woman, Ghislaine Maxwell, gets 20. And she gonna get out earlier than 20. Man, they ain't gonna let that little precious white demon sit in that cell too long. Right, he still got more pending charges. They're gonna make sure that nigga gets buried. But same crimes, she get 10 less years, and they still not done hanging him. But this is what they stand on. So it said, for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume the powers of the earth, the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. So in one instance, they want to talk about the laws of God. Does America stand on the laws of God at all? They keep talking about Roe versus Wade. They want to talk about the LGBTQ rights. They want to talk about the food. They want to talk about how, white man came over here with Manifest Destiny talking about he was made to rule. Well, in a sense, he was, because that's how the Most High gave him the power. But at the end of the day, he didn't went too far. So here they want to try to include the laws of nature and the laws that God entitled them with. They don't follow the laws of God. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. Look at it. We heard this line before. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Really? But watch this though. That they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Was that afforded to the so-called blacks? Was that afforded to the indigenous tribes that's there? They wasn't talking about us. They talking about their own struggles, because here they are talking about here. Hold on, where was that part at? I'm gonna drop down here. So the history of the present king of Britain is a history of repeated injuries, of usurpations, all having a direct objective to the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. So they're talking about how King George was a tyrant over them and ruled over them with rigor and all these laws and taxes and everything else. What's happening to our people? Are they not living by the same rules that they claim that they were trying to separate from with King George and the King of Britain, that they talking about they being oppressed and overly taxed? And the real thing is, watch this. Hold on, where is it at? Look at this. Now, it says he has excited. What they were concerned about was King George was actually out there sending letters and telling the British that was over here, recruiting blacks and Indians to the army to help fight against the South and the colonists over here. So they were trying to say that he has excited domestic insurrections against us. What's a domestic insurrection? That's a nice way of saying slave revolts. He's saying King George is over here making these slaves wild out on us. They're revolting against us. So part of what they're saying is we got to get rid of him so that these slaves don't get out of control no more. They're getting confident under him because he's guaranteeing them a certain amount of freedom and liberty if he fights for them. Hold on, give me Sirach 13. See, white man's always going to use us, man. If he's got an objective, if he thinks he can come up on us, it's always got to be motivations behind it. King George wasn't concerned about indigenous and black people getting freedom because he cared for us. He said, man, if you help me win this war, you put your life on the line, you get out there and get put to death, I'll give you freedom. But you got to rebel against the other white man that's oppressing you. You come over here, I'll be a good boss. You go over there, he still got whips for you. So they were complaining. They said that he's exciting domestic insurrections amongst us. So, Negro, ask yourself this. If the Declaration of Independence is saying that part of the reason why they wanted to set it up is because they wanted to stop you from rebelling and fighting against them and fighting against for your liberty, why are you out here popping fireworks and eating ham hocks every damn 4th of July? Sirach 13, verse 4.
Book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 13, verse 4. If thou be for his profit, he will use thee.
If you can profit him, he will use you. That's just like when Slow Biden, we just brought it out a couple weeks ago. We made the 300,000 work permit visas for the Northern Kingdom to come over here and work. It wasn't for them to come, oh, we want to bring you in as citizens. We love you people over here. Come on over and be part of America. Get in the melting pot and boil with the rest of the nations. No. He said, if I can use your sweat and labor, if I can use that elbow grease, if you can come over and help build up my kingdom and help me maintain power, I'll use you. If thou be for his profit, he will use thee. And that's exactly what they were doing. They were trying to utilize slaves to rebel against and join up with the redcoats to fight against the fight in the Civil War. Okay, so it says you be for his profit, he'll use you. Go ahead.
But if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee.
See, if you don't have nothing to offer, man, a white man don't care about you. Plain and simple. So look at this. He says, he has excited domestic insurrections against us. Remember, they said, let us document all of the reasons why we feel as though we need to have separation from England. And this is one of the reasons. Okay. Look at it. He even said about it. He has constrained our fellow citizens taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. So they talking about any of the white folks, man, that they got caught up on them ships, they got treated like pirates, snatched them up and told them, man, you either come over here and defect and fight for us or you're gonna get put to death. But that all fair is a love and war, man. They got captured, they want to get them turned out. That's what happened. Now they're talking about the slaves and the Indians. He has excited domestic insurrections against us and has endeavored to bring on the inhibitions of our frontiers. The merciless Indian savages. I thought all men was created equal. We hold these truths to be self-evident. But they talking about Indian savages, and they say domestic insurrection instead of saying slave revolts, because they didn't want, and the damn people that stand on the Constitution, slave isn't even in the Constitution. We wasn't talking about that. You damn liar. They know exactly what an insurrection was domestically. Or the house slaves, the house niggas is running wild, man. The inmates are running the asylum. And they said it's all because King George over there telling them he's got their back. We got to stop that. Then he wants to say the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. Wait a minute. He's going to say the Indian savages had no problem killing age, sex, or conditions. Can we go to Deuteronomy 28? Deuteronomy 20. He's going to say that was the way the Indians was only doing what was being done to them. Good Lord, man. That damn white man is so wicked. Deuteronomy 28, 49 through 50. Then I want to go to in the Maccabees, man, where it said that they was snatching the babies out the mothers' wombs, man. Go ahead and read that. Deuteronomy 28.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things.
Mm-hmm. So the Lord said he's going to bring a nation from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. So now we're seeing obviously the symbolization of the eagle. You know, our people still understand that right now. We see how that is a representation not only from Rome all the way to present time right now. If you look up an image of the Caucasian eagle, you're going to see the bald eagle, right? They came from far, bringing in strange languages from French to Dutch to English. They came in speaking Spanish. Coming from the ends of the earth, man. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Go ahead.
As swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand,
Mm-hmm.
a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
The Lord said that was going to be an attribute of the so-called white man, not showing favor to the young or to the old. He says, oh, it's the Indian savages who do that. They have an undistinguished type of warfare. Really? Go to 2 Maccabees 6. 2 Maccabees 6. And I want to read. Let's read first. Okay, we're gonna read 1 down to 6, then we're gonna drop down, we're gonna read 10. Verse 10.
2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of God.
So these are the Greeks. White men said that the Jews, our people, had to depart from the laws of our fathers and not live after the laws of our God, our power. That was mandatory, right? Go ahead.
And to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem and to call it the temple of Jupiter.
And they wanted to transform the temple of the Most High into Greek form, a place of Greek worship. Read.
And to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympius, and that in Garizim of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwell in the place.
Go ahead.
The coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people.
It said the coming in of this mischief, man, was sore and grievous to our people. Man, this was eating our people alive to have to sacrifice and deal with this, bow down to these heathen, and let them go in here and transform our temple of worship into some place that they said was going to be dedicated to Jupiter, the defender of the strangers. They said this place is now going to be our sacred place. This is the God that's going to defend us. And you can't do nothing about it. Read.
For the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles.
See, what goes on in the churches right now? You can't tell if they, is it a party? Is it a riot? They in there, and they jumping around and flipping. I mean, I seen a video with a wrestling match going on in there, man. That literally, the preacher was out here laying hands, slamming guys into the chairs. I mean, some of these African churches, they be wilding out. They be wilding out. Some of those African churches, but you see these same black churches over here doing very close to the same things. I think there was one woman, man, she was bobbing her hair so much, man, the wig came off. I mean, it was wild. They do it up. But this is what happens when the damn Gentiles and the heathens get a hold of the churches. The temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles. Go ahead.
Who dallied with harlots.
Oh, they was letting the harlots hang out. And this is what they call sacred prostitution. Where they was in there, allowing prostitution to go on, having sex to different gods. Dallied with harlots. Go ahead.
And had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places.
Mm-hmm.
And besides that, brought in things that were not lawful.
So they were doing all manners of wickedness and unrighteousness in our temple. Go ahead.
The altar also was filled with profane things, which the law forbiddeth.
Read.
Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
So it got down to the point where you couldn't even declare yourself to being a Jew, let alone to keep lawful feast days or Sabbath days. Well, what's the church is telling us now? Sabbath is every day. I mean, we just seen one sister today. Caught her slipping though. She thought she was slick. She went walk by and she said, it's the Lord's Day every day up. I said, hold on, sister. What day is the Lord's Day? Every day. I but today and every day. I said, no. He gave a specific day though, right? What's the day? Come on, sister, help me out. She's talking to her friend. She need to bail out. I said, wait a minute. You done came over here. You started this now. You got to get some answers. They both look at another sister and said, no, let him go ahead. I said, it begins with the S, sister. Oh, see, y'all caught me off guard. We didn't catch you off guard. You the one that came up talking crazy. Good Lord, man, our people is wild. I said, the Sabbath. Yeah, the Sabbath. The Sabbath. That's right. Yeah, the Sabbath. Okay, are you keeping the Sabbath? Let me show you how to keep the Sabbath, sister. Give it to that. Yeah, I gotta go, but it's every day. Our people, man. And then, but see, this is why they get this training and they get this understanding from days of old. Don't keep the Sabbath day or the ancient feast. You ask somebody about the new moon, Pentecost. You asking them about Day of Atonement. You talking about Passover. They scratching their heads wondering what's going on. They have no idea because it's been erased from their histories. Drop down, read verse 10. Since the white man want to talk about undistinguished warfare and the killing of ages, read verse 10.
Verse 10. For there were 2 women brought who had circumcised their children, who when they had openly led round about the city, the babes hanging at their breasts, they cast them down headlong from the wall.
You see that? But we supposed to forget about these type of heinous acts that they was doing, man. They said that these women, remember, it was unlawful for our people to circumcise their children, man. They wanted us separated from the covenant of our fathers, of the Most High, right? The women had the babies sucking, they were nursing their babies, and they realized that the babies were not circumcised, or they was circumcised. They snatched them babies off of the breasts of them women, man, and drove their heads headlong into the wall. They took the babies, slung them into the walls, man, head first. And they want to talk about the savage Indians killing women and children. You started it. And then when we want to retaliate and we live by your same rules, man, they savages. The white man is a complete savage. But he wants to say that. But that's in the Constitution, right? So obviously we know that that has nothing to do with us, right? Let's look at this one.
Getting shot at 90 times.
Hello? You talking about outright executions of our people. I remember there was an incident that happened a few years back. It was a brother and a sister. They was in a car, and the cops, I forgot what happened. The cops ended up shooting. It was like 137 shots. They got to the point to where they ran and got on top of the cars and were shooting into the cars.
Esau.
Wicked.
Yes.
Now look at what the Constitution really says about race and slavery. This is another article. So that was always something that they were leaving out. What about our slavery? What's the Constitution say about our race? 150 years ago this month, the 13th Amendment, and that's something else that we haven't even talked about. The 13th. Did y'all see that? There's a documentary on Netflix surrounded around the 13th Amendment. And let's look what it says. Okay. It's a good documentary. His sister did it. She made another doc. Ava DuVernay, I think her name is. She did the 13th. Yeah. Well, check this out. 150 years ago this month, the 13th Amendment officially was ratified with it. Slavery finally was abolished in America. Whippy, really? The New York World hailed it as one of the most important reforms ever accomplished by voluntary human agency. See how the white man wants to, he wants credit for everything. If this is the most important reform I've ever done in human agency, man. You niggas got everything. You thank me for everything. Okay. Look at it. The newspaper said the amendment takes out of politics and co-signs the history an institution incongruous to our political system, inconsistent with justice, and repugnant to the humane sentiments fostered by Christian civilization. Or Christians, huh? Look at this. With the passage of the 13th Amendment, which states that neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, neither one, except as a punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. What is that saying? They said slavery still exists as long as a crime has been committed. Slavery or involuntary servitude is abolished, it's gone, except as a punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. So if you get convicted for a crime, they have the legal right to institute you into slavery. That's why you have the prison industrial complex, and our people are so packed in these jails. That's the new form of slavery, man. They working for pennies a day, chalking up all kind of industry. They down there in Angola and Louisiana, working the fields and building up agriculture, you know, from the license plates and everything else that they got our people out there slaving in there. It's legal slavery, right? Shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. The central contradiction at the heart of the founding was resolved. So slavery still exists as long as crimes have been committed. And you know that they out there planting drugs on our people, you know, violating our civil and supposed civil rights and all of that other stuff, framing our people for crimes, man. How many people have we seen get exonerated from crimes they didn't commit after DNA evidence, you know, released them? Men, you know, spending 30 years, 40 years locked away, and they come out with a sorry and then get some chump change as a civil, you know, civil lawsuit settlement. But that's how they continue with the slavery. 13th Amendment was a backup plan, right? So then, so I just wanted to bring that particular portion out. See, this is how they get slick. Race in the Constitution. The argument that the Constitution is racist suffers from one fatal flaw. The concept of race does not exist in the Constitution. See, they were slick. They tried to make sure that they didn't include race, but they did by talking about, you know, the Indian savages. Nowhere in the Constitution or in the Declaration of Independence, for that matter, are human beings classified according to race, skin color, or ethnicity. That's a lie. We just read it. Nor one should add sex, religion, or any other to left favored groupings. Our founding principles are colorblind. After they just said, man, one of the reasons why we need independence is because King George is causing insurrections on our plantations. Yeah, the 3/5. That's another thing. Now, this is how they get out of this. This is how they get slick with this one, right? The infamous 3/5 clause, which more nonsense has been written than any other clause. They ain't talking about nonsense meaning, oh, blacks wasn't 3/5 of men. They're saying that that's nonsense. That doesn't exist, which technically is right, but this is how they do it. Nonsense has been written for any other clause. Does not declare that a black person is worth 60% of a white person. It says that for purposes of determining the number of representatives for each state in the House and direct taxes, the government would count only 3/5 of the slaves. See, it's semantics. They're not saying, quote unquote, you're 3/5 of a human being, but we'll only accept 3/5 of your slave population when it comes down to representation in the House. So when the North was getting their numbers together and the South was getting their numbers together, the South said, we want to count all of our inhabitants. We want our slaves to be counted. We want our households to be counted. We need all the numbers that we can get. The North said, listen, we need to compromise. We'll only accept 3/5 of your slaves as part of the representation. They can be included, but only 3/5 of your number. Not necessarily that we're 3/5 of a human, but if you had 20 slaves, they were still only going to count that as 3/5 of the representation. It's still damn near the same thing. You're saying that I don't count as a whole part of the representation. And then the flip side is they're going to say, well, if we did count them as 100%, slavery would still be going on because the South outnumbered the North.
Did they get rid of the 13th Amendment like synonymously with the 3/5 clause?
I don't think they got rid of the 13th.
Then that would make sense. But if they got rid of them separately, then it would kind of like You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Defeat that.
I don't think that. I think they did it in a. I don't listen. Don't even quote me on that. I know they ain't get rid of the 13. I don't know if they did an amendment to it to kind of like adjust it, but as far as I know, it's still there. And the 3/5 clause, see, they try to switch that up and just say, well, we're only going to count 3/5 of the population towards the representation of the vote for the people. So if they had equal numbers, or if they just allowed each slave to be considered part of the household or part of the representation of votes for the house, so they can get political power, because they had the South had all these slaves, the North was saying, nah, that's an imbalance. We can't do that. We'll compromise, divide up your household, all your slaves, no matter how many you got, it's only going to represent 3/5 of your representation for the votes.
Right.
So the North is saying, well, you better be glad that we did do that, because if we said, it'd have been unbalanced, and they the one with slavery.
In prison, do they have the right to vote?
I think if you got a felon, you got to go through some paperwork to come out, and then you can get your rights back. But when you originally come out,
so then what would the 3/5 be considering if you don't even have rights to vote as a slave? What you're saying, that would be slavery, right?
Well, they're gonna say that you surrendered your rights to votes when you became a criminal. You gave up your rights.
They can't vote at all for the most part. So I'm saying, so then what would the 3/5 clause be? Like, who would it be portraying to? Like, who would it be talking about if the slaves can't even vote to begin with?
Right. Yeah. That's the truth. That's the truth. But see, they were saying in the North, I think they said they did have some Jakes was voting. They did have so-called free blacks at that time that was able to vote, but in the South they wasn't able to vote. So they still wanted them to be representations of part of their voting house. So they saying, well, if I got 45 people in my house, including my 25 slaves and such and such, that's 45 votes that the South is gonna bring. One person is bringing to the table.
Right.
The South is like, hell no, that ain't fair.
Right. Well, back then I would get it, but I mean more so for now. Like,
for now, I don't think that exists now.
If it's still in effect now, and in prison, which we said is lawful for it to be slavery or to be in servitude or to work with someone which don't even really have the right to vote, then where like the 3/5 that clause is like talking about would have to be us.
Right. That's what you're saying. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, no, that's the truth, because at the end of the day, that's when you get out, and I used to use that all the time. Them cats be sitting outside, man, brother, you do you vote? Come on, let me sign you up. No, I got a record, bro. I can't vote. And that lasted until a few years back, and they was like, no, we can take care of that, man. Come on over, we can get your votes back. I'm like, oh no, I'm cool, bro. I don't vote, man. Let me tell you why. Now I got to break it down. I'm just trying to get in and out the store, man. I don't have time to be dealing with the madness, but. Yeah, this is the type of stuff that they was including during those times, right? So what did that have to do with us? If this particular point in time, our people are still talking, we're still talking about slavery, we're still talking about institutionalized racism that was going on. What did that have to do with our people during these times? Let's look at this. And this is what they were sitting up here talking about, our people. I'm gonna use a quick reference out of Wikipedia. I don't use them too out, but I'll use it today. Look, this is just a history about different particular slavery votes. I just want to see what was going on after 1776. Were we still having insurrections? Were we still having revolts? Look, just in Cuba alone, they may say that's not America, but that's part of the Americas. That was inhabited by colonists. Slavery votes 1795, 1798. That's after 1776, 1802, 1805, 1812, 1825. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, we're talking about multiple slavery votes. The Caribbean islands, we seen them. North America, we got 1811 German Coast Uprising. I mean, we're talking post 1776. Our people are still trying to fight and rebel for freedoms. What is our people worrying about? Yeah, Gabriel Prosser was, a lot of brothers say he knew he was Israel, and he was teaching his people that they was Israel, and he was born in 1776. So imagine that. Out of Virginia, 1800, Denmark Vesey, that's another brother. We were having revolts. Look, Denmark Vesey in Charleston, South Carolina in 1822. That's post 1776. Nat Turner, 1831. Our people were still fighting for freedoms, fighting against oppression, man, killing the so-called white man and trying to get up out of here. And our people sitting here trying to assimilate and want to be part of it. Drapetomania was supposed mental illness invented by American physician Samuel A. Cartwright in 1851 that allegedly caused black slaves to run away. Did you hear that? He's saying that this American physician, Samuel Cartwright, says that drapetomania is a mental illness that caused slaves to run away. Drapetomania, Drapetomania, was a supposed mental illness that in 1851, American physician Samuel A. Cartwright hypothesized as the cause of enslaved Americans fleeing captivity. Enslaved Africans fleeing captivity. So he's saying we was mentally ill for trying to get away from him. That's a white man for you, man. And you got our damn people going into these damn psychology classes and going to these psych classes in college, thinking that you're gonna get more brainwashed and more lost. This is the type of manners that they out there teaching. You mentally ill if you try to escape as a slave. Unbelievable. In the antebellum South, what was the name of that? Hold on. What was that sister's name was Mary. Hold on, man. Let me find out. My brother Elkanah. Elkanah, he on here? Hold on. Let me find this. We're gonna go to. Hold on one second. I want to get this reference for this because there's a movie and it's based after true story, man. Shalimar, you made mention of it earlier, man, about the slavery still happening in the 60s. Hold on. I'm gonna find it real quick. That was antebellum, but they made another movie called it wasn't 12. It's called hold on. Alice. Now hold on, I'm gonna show y'all right now. It had Kiki Palmer? She played a sister, right? It was just like antebellum, but it was a true story though. This woman, she went through indentured servitude all the way up into the 60s until she escaped, and she didn't even realize that there was civilization going on outside. And then they kind of threw in the whole little twist, and her and Common went back to free the slaves off the plantation, but they kind of added that on. But it said that it was based on the true story. I'm trying to find the sister's real name, and she took it to court, and they dismissed it. Hold on, let me. May Louise Miller. Here you go. Hold on, is that it? Yeah, let me share this with y'all. Let me share this. Oops, it should already be on. Okay, here you go. Here's the highlight right here. It just came out in 2020. I think it's 2022. Yeah, March. Right. Look, they made sure they shut this down, man. They only made $373,000, man. They threw it out there and just said, hopefully you catch it. If you don't, too bad. No, I think it went like straight to. It said theatrical release poster, but I ain't see no advertisements for it. I think they put it, straight to streaming or straight to video or something. Wow. But here you go. Plot: a woman, Palmer, is enslaved in 19th century plantation in Georgia. Attempting to escape, she realizes it's actually 1973. And meets a truck driver, Common, who helps her adjust to the time period. She persuades him to go back with her to the plantation so that she can exact revenge on her cruel former owner. The publicity for the film states that it is inspired by the true events of a woman of servitude in the 1800s Georgia who escapes the 55-acre confines of her captor to discover the shocking reality that exists beyond the tree line in 1973. Elements of the film's background are loosely based on a narrative of May Louise Miller. Here she go right here, who escaped from slavery in 1961. See?
It just came out.
Yeah, it just came out in
It's called Alice.
It's called Alice. Yeah, here she go right here. May Louise Miller. It'll show on the site. Now you see here, it says May Louise Miller. She was born 1943. She died in 2014. As an American woman who was kept in modern day slavery known as peonage. So they already have a terminology for what it is. A peon. That's where that term comes from. Usually refers to a person subject to peonage, any form of wage labor, financial exploitation, coercive economic practice or policy in which the victim or the laborer, a peon, has little control over employment or economic conditions. So they were saying that, her family was indebted to these Edomites, man, and they was constantly passing down the children into servitude and so forth and so on. So all she knew was this peonage, living on this plantation and serving until she finally got free in 1961. It said May's story was unearthed when she spoke to historian Antoinette Harrell, who highlighted it in her short documentary, The Untold Story, Slavery in the 20th Century. The story inspired the 2020 film Alice. In 2003, May and all six of her siblings joined a class action lawsuit seeking reparations to the descendants of enslaved people from several private companies. With lawyer Deidre Farmer Pelleman, May stated to NPR that maybe I wasn't free, but maybe it can free somebody else. There's a lot of people out there that's really enslaved and don't know how to get out. In 2004, a judge dropped the lawsuit. So, they ain't show her no love. As we see what happened with that. But you see what it is, man. Are people still in slavery right now? Still in slavery right now. What about Jim Crow? Yeah, she passed in 2014. Jim Crow. Our people forget about that. I mean, this is post 1776. Jim Crow is a U.S. history of any laws that enforced racial segregation in the South between the end of Reconstruction in 1877 and the beginning of the Civil Rights Movement in the 1950s. Jim Crow was the name of a minstrel routine after actually Jump Jim Crow, performed in the beginning of 1828 by its author Thomas Dartmouth, Daddy Rice, and many imitators, including actor Joseph Jefferson. The term came to be derogatory epithet for African Americans and designation for their segregated life. So Jim Crow came in, segregation with the school systems. This is when Esau came in and started really destroying our whole communities. When we had our own doctors, lawyers, hospitals, grocery stores, banks, restaurants. I mean, everything, man. Seamstresses, the whole nine. Esau said, I want part of that. Break this thing up. And you can come over here and eat some of my apple pie. You can sip a little drink at the water fountain next to me. What do we get from that? More lies, more oppression, more separation, and really a destruction of our whole community efforts. We always said, man, segregation was the worst thing that could happen to our people. When we had our own, we was good. And they didn't like that. And they said, man, we got to break him up. Break it up. Jim Crow. Carpetbaggers, man, look what they call our people. From the 1870s, Southern state legislators, no longer controlled by so-called carpetbaggers and freedmen, passed laws requiring the separation of whites from, quote, persons of color in public transportation and schools. Generally, anyone ascertainable or strongly suspected black ancestry in any degree was for that person of purpose a person of color. The pre-Civil War distinction favoring those whose ancestry was known to be mixed, particularly the half-French free persons of color, in Louisiana was abandoned. The segregation principle was extended to parks, cemeteries, theaters, and restaurants in an effort to prevent any contact between blacks and whites as equals. But I thought they just said in the Constitution, man, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. This is why the white man's a devil. He clearly tells us everything. He said, okay, fine, you want to be free, but you can't be equal. You can stay over there, man. We're going to give you the worst of the worst, and you're going to love it. Our people, how many kids, man, was getting beat up, being forced, bused to these schools, getting chased out, just because a white man said, "Oh, you can go, you get bused over here now." You want in? Yes, something?
Yeah. Since the whole Roe versus Wade overturning, some white people that's asking for the overturning of other laws that were in place, like the segregation of schools. They don't want their kids going to schools of other races. Some white people are actually calling for that. Virginia Loving versus Virginia interracial.
They figure, man, if the gates is open, we're gonna steal everything we can and push everything back to where we want it. That's wild, but I ain't surprised though. You know.
And blacks living in white neighborhoods.
Oh, they want Jake's out the name. Well, no surprises there.
That's why they said when they made up the Constitution, they said, "We the people." It was expressly meant for the landowners at that time. It wasn't for the slaves or anybody else. It was only for the landowners, and that's what they were directing all the laws toward. Whoever on land, this applies to you and you only. And we know that was all slave masters at the time.
Kind of, for real. I mean, look, back over here, the slave revolts in North America. They said there was revolts and insurrections. This how you know. Isn't that what they said in the Constitution? That King George was out here causing domestic insurrections. Now it says numerous slave rebellions and insurrections took place in North America during the 17th, 18th, and 19th century. So we were still fighting, trying to get our quote unquote independence and equalities well after the 17th century. So these are documented. Then the white man came up and said, man, these blacks is mentally ill for trying to run away. Unbelievable. Slave resistance in the antebellum South did not gain attention of the academic historians until the 1940s. So we see that. That's, again, white man changed history, hiding history. We're not even acknowledging that until the 40s. And then we'll go ahead and we'll try to establish, what really happened. So we're seeing that here. What else do we got down here? 1811 German Coast Uprising took place in Louisiana. Involved 500 insurgent slaves. So that's post 1776. Our people's out here fighting for their lives, man. And they out here talking about popping fireworks.
You don't see Jake with the full garb of
Yeah, wrapping themselves in American flags. You remember that with 9/11, man? And everybody had their little American flags, man. They had the damn window flags. People was driving in their cars. They was waving them around. Everybody was standing behind America, man. We will not. What were they saying? We won't forget.
Yeah.
It was wild. I mean, we looking at Jakes and Lolos. They rock flags flying. I said, our people is gone, man. Gone. So we know about Nat Turner was post 1776. What was the name of that movie they had about him? Birth of a Nation. I mean, see, our people forget about that, man. They just want to go play dress up and go watch Black Panther and fantasize about Wakanda when real stuff was going on, man. Our people's out here really fighting for their lives and dying. Women was getting killed. Men was dying just to get our people free. Man, Nat Turner, Gabriel Prosser, man, and these cats would be rolling over in their graves, man, seeing our people out here toasting and waving flags and putting them out on their porches and sipping drinks and talking about good old America. They'd be rolling over in their graves, man. Look, Black Seminole rebellions, that's 1831. The Amistad, they made a movie about that. 1830. I mean, look at this, man. We got plenty of history that shows we was not independent. That wasn't ours. All right. Dred Scott. How about the Dred Scott decision, man? This is the tragedy what they did to this brother, man. 1857. The Dred Scott decision. And this is kind of where they get that 12 years a slave from, too. Legal case in which the Supreme Court on March 6, 1857 ruled that a slave, Dred Scott, who had resided in a free state and territory where slavery was prohibited, was not thereby entitled to his freedom. So here he is in a free state, and they told him that he was not entitled to his freedom because of where he came from. The African Americans were not and could not. This is so cold, man. Esau, boy. All right, let me finish this up. Entitled to his freedom. African Americans were not and could never be citizens of the United States. And that the Missouri Compromise, which had declared free all territories west of Missouri and north latitude 36 degrees by 30, was unconstitutional. The decision added fuel to the sectional controversy and pushed the country closer to civil war. Among constitutional scholars, Scott versus Sanford is widely considered the worst decision ever rendered by the Supreme Court. It has been cited in particular as the most egregious example of the court's history of wrongly imposing a judicial solution on a political problem. A later Chief Justice, Charles Evan Hughes, famously characterized the decision as the court's great self-inflicting wound. Let's get to the problem. Dred Scott was a slave who was owned by John Emerson of Missouri. In 1833, Emerson undertook a series of moves as part of his service in the U.S. military. He took Scott from Missouri, a slave state, to Illinois, a free state. So, he's living off of this is my property. When I move, he moves. So he's in a slave state of Missouri. He's in the military. He gets transferred over to Illinois, where it's a free state now. So now Dred Scott should be free. And finally into the Wisconsin territory, another free territory. So he's been in 2 free territories, was only in 1 slave state, right? During this period, Scott met and married Harriet Robinson, who became part of the Emerson household. So now he married, his wife now becomes part of the slave institution. She comes along with him. Emerson married in 1838, and in the 1840s, he and his wife returned with the Scotts to Missouri. And Emerson died in 1843. So now his slave owner dies. Scott reportedly attempted to purchase his freedom from Emerson's widow. So slave owner dies, pass along to his wife. Now wife owns them. He says, okay, I came in under your husband. I want to purchase my freedom. I want to get up out of here now. I'm in a free state. I should be able to go. What's she do? Who refused the sale? In 1846, with the help of anti-slavery lawyers, Harriet and Dred Scott filed individual lawsuits for their freedom in Missouri State Court in St. Louis on the grounds that their residence in a free state and free territory had freed them from the bonds of slavery. It was later agreed that only Dred's case would move forward. The decision in that case would apply to Harriet's case as well. Although the case was long thought to have been unusual, historians later demonstrated that several hundred suits for freedom were filed by or on behalf of slaves in decades before the Civil War. So this wasn't new. They just kept throwing out these cases. Scott versus Emerson took years to resolve. In 1850, this is still post 1776. We damn near at almost at 1900. This is going on. The state court declared Scott free, but the verdict was reversed in 1852. So he's figuring, I'm free. 1850, he gets his freedom. 2 years later, they double back and say, hold on. The Missouri Supreme Court, which thereby invalidated Missouri's longstanding doctrine of once free, always free, Emerson's widow then left Missouri and gave control of her late husband's estate to her brother. You should have husband, wife, now the damn brother gets them. John F.A. Sanford, a resident of New York State, last name was later incorrectly spelled Sanford on court documents. Because Sanford was not subject to suit in Missouri, Scott's lawyers filed a suit against him in the U.S. District Federal Court, was found in Sanford's favor. The case eventually reached the U.S. Supreme Court, which announced its decision in March 1857, just days after the inauguration of President James Buchanan. Well, let's get to the decision. Chief Justice Roger Burke Taney's opinion of the court was arguably the worst he ever wrote. He ignored precedents, distorted history, imposed a rigid rather than a flexible construction of the Constitution, ignored specific grants of power in the Constitution, and tortured meanings out of other more obscure clauses. His logic on the citizenship issue was perhaps the most convoluted. He admitted that African Americans could be citizens of a particular state and that they might even be able to vote, as they in fact did in some states, but he argued that the state citizenship had nothing to do with national citizenship and that African Americans could not sue in federal court because they could not be citizens of the United States. But we're all equal. These truths are self-evident. We're supposed to have rights given from God and all this other stuff. Bottom line, the white man holds the gavel. He's telling you, you can't be a citizen, you can't vote, and you got no rights, man. You got no place in this court. Let's finish this up. Therefore, it's been dismissed as a lack of jurisdiction by the district court. On this point, however, Taney stood on shaky constitutional ground. Even if one considered an African American a citizen, then the Constitution required that all states, by inference, also the federal government had to accord that person all privileges and immunities of citizens in the several states. which includes the right to sue in federal court. Furthermore, Article 3, which establishes the jurisdiction of the federal courts, does not mention national citizenship, but rather declares the judicial power. Long story short, man, they said, man, the dude got to go back. Go back into slavery. He got jacked up. They denounced his citizenship, man. Y'all can read the rest about it, man. But clearly we see that our people was not being treated fairly in the courts. We wasn't getting treated fairly according to their so-called constitution. The same thing that our people is out here celebrating has nothing to do with us. One more. I brought this out before about the Devil's Punch Bowl in Mississippi. 1865. Again, this is post-slavery. This is supposedly when slaves are supposed to be free. Isn't that what they say? The Declaration, Emancipation Proclamation, 1865. Yeah, right. Look what happened to our people. The Devil's Punch Bowl episode is remembered on this date, 1865. This post-American Civil War atrocity in Black history took place in Natchez or Adams County, Mississippi. As Black slaves made their way to freedom, the town of Natchez quickly went from a population of 10,000 to nearly 100,000 people. In order to deal with the population influx of recent freedmen, a concentration camp was established by Union soldiers essentially eradicate the slaves. The Revelation 2 and 9, folks, they talk about a concentration camp. We had a concentration camp damn near 100 years before they did. And it was essentially to eradicate us. What time are they claiming they was in bondage under their own people? In the 30s, 40s, if that? And here we are talking about 90, 85 years earlier than that, man. We went through the first concentration camp. What are they talking about? And the reason that they did it was to kill us off. Well, keep listening, sis. You're going to see some more. Don Estes, former director of Natchez City Cemetery, says so they decided to build an encampment for them at Devil's Punch Bowl, which they walled off and wouldn't let them out. The camp was called the Devil's Punch Bowl because of the way the area is shaped. The camp was located at the bottom of a carnivorous pit with trees located at the bluffs above. The women and children were locked behind the concrete walls of the camp and left to die from starvation. And Esau didn't he just say the savages was, Indian savages was out here, didn't care about ages or sex? They try to starve our people out. Many also died from smallpox disease. Oh, really? So it wasn't just the indigenous tribes. They're known for biological warfare, and then they wonder why Jake's is sitting back saying, I don't want that in my arm. Get away from me with that. You got a history of just trying to kill our people off with these tactics. In total, over 20,000 free slaves were killed in 1 year. 20,000. This is after the so-called 1776. This is when the emancipation. This is when we're supposed to be free. And in that same year, we got 20,000 dead. That's in one place, Natchez, Mississippi. And interestingly enough, me and a couple other brothers, man, was entertaining this deal to get some land down there. And when I said, hold on, where's this at? Natchez. I said, hold on. Yeah, it's in the county, but the city is a little smaller, man, outside of that. Yeah, I don't know what happened with it. But 20,000 were killed in 1 year, man. Inside this American concentration camp, Black men were recaptured by the Union troops and forced back into hard labor. Researcher Paula Westbrook adds that the Union Army did not allow them to remove the bodies from the camp. They just gave them shovels and said bury them where they dropped. That's why I said, man, the souls of them, man, the souls of the righteous man is crying up from them graves, man. And then when we say the white man's a devil, they name their own places after the monikers and the spirit that they're motivated by. Devil's Punch Bowl, man. And then they got bodies stacked up over there, man. Just told them, man, throw some dirt on them. And you getting back to work. Today, the bluffs are known for the wild peach groves, and the locals will not eat any of the fruit because some are aware of what has fertilized the trees. Estes said that during his studies, he learned that women and children were all but left to die in 3 punch bowls. Disease broke out among them, smallpox being the main one, and thousands died. They were begging to get out. Turn me loose and I'll go back home to the plantation, anywhere but there. Unbelievable, man. And this type of stuff, man, our people have no idea. And they out here just carrying on, following after all these ridiculous doctrines, getting enslaved, getting caught up in the moment, and not realizing, man, the history that our people had to suffer. And now we're out here toasting and barbecuing and cooking up. You know, you remember the old, what is it? The picnic was a pick a nigga. You know, the history behind the barbecue, man, also, you know, leads into the killing of our people, man. It's unbelievable, man. And all our people have to do is just stop, think, man, research. We're in the age of information. Maybe the crystal balls is in everybody's pockets and purses. All you got to do is swipe and find out a little something and be delivered from this madness. Go to Isaiah 8:20.
They said when the floods over there, skeletal pieces still wash up to the shore.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Reminder.
Yeah. Man. Man, oh man.
I know my mother used to say she wouldn't even want to fly a plane over Mississippi.
Wow. Didn't want no parts over there.
No
man.
parts.
M.I. Crooked letter.
Aye.
And you know what's interesting? That's the one place that they make sure that Jakes know how to spell when you're in school.
Sure is.
MISSISSIPPI. You know, I still remember that from being a kid. M.I. crooked letter, I crooked letter, whatever that.
Yeah.
They make sure we remember their damn memorials, man. Unreal. Isaiah 8:20. Let's go there.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 8, verse 20. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them.
See, plain and simple. If you speak not according to this word, there is no light in. I mean, there's no knowledge. There's no wisdom behind it. If you can't find it in here, man, when the Lord said it's okay to do, then you don't do it. If it's not within the law, if it's not within the testimony, if it's not part of the Lord gave us ceremonial laws. Like we said before, the Most High said, bare minimum, you have 5 times a month you can come together. You can turn up in righteousness, you know, with meaning and understanding behind why you're keeping these particular days. And then throughout the rest of the year, we got another 11, minus the new another 11 different festivals to keep. So the Most High knows Israel loves a nice little turn. Israel loves to come together. We love to eat. We love to be amongst each other. We love each other's company and all of that. The Most High said, I know my children. I got that taken care of. But we turn that down and say, well, give me Easter instead of Passover. And we said, what are you talking about? Why would you do that? You don't want Memorial Day? Well, how about you learn about the memorial assignment? Maybe you should learn about the memorial of the destruction of Nicanor. Let's talk about some real deliverances of memorials when our people rebelled and fought against the Greeks and had crucial victories in taking back over, this place, right? So this is what we're talking about. What I say, Isaiah 8? Okay, now let's go over here to
But you know what?
go ahead.
I remember back in the day, we used to say the scripture applies to the churches and the pastors and what have you. But that applies to this scripture right here applies to every Israelite that is not aware and conscious of the law and the testimony of Christ, whether they're in the church or not. But we used to push it real hard on the pastors and what have you.
Right.
But any Israelite that is not abreast of the law, abreast of the testimony, the true testimony of Christ and who he is, no light in them.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you can't find light in somebody, man, who's dwelling in darkness. And they refuse to turn the lights on. I would joke about that with my kids. Sometimes they'd be in the room, man. It'd be broad daylight, man. They in there, lights off and doing. I'd be like, man, we children of the light, man. Turn on the lights in here. What's wrong with y'all? Open up the windows, get some sun in here.
Real light.
Right, but the ignorant would rather stay in their darkness and their wickedness, man. Let's jump over to Mark 7. Mark 7. And you can pick it up at the 6th verse.
Mark chapter 7, verse 6. He answered and said unto them, well hath Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written, this people honoreth me with their lips.
See, Yahweh already acknowledged. He said, look, these people are hypocrites. Nobody can praise, but I mean, that's Yahweh. Mean praise of the Lord. Black folks, man, can praise like no other. We ain't got no problem singing and praising, prayer, praise, worship. What they talking about in the church? Praise, worship, they doing it. We can do that with the best of them. And then you get these uppity Negroes running around here with their nose up. You can't judge me. What's wrong with coming together? It's just another day. And you can't tell me I don't love God. Yes, I can. Because you're not being led by the word of the Lord. The Lord said, if it's not in the law to the testimony, there's no light in them. Leave it alone. The scriptures say that a man that is spiritual judgeth all things. So, excuse me. Yeah, I have to make sure you are aware that no, you really don't love the Most High. You really don't follow and favor the ways of Yahweh Shai. You don't. And Christ called him plain. He said, look, you hypocrites. Go ahead. He said, this people honors me with their lips, but we know every man. Jesus Christ. What's that little Edomite? You seen him? There's a little meme with this little Edomite where somebody scares him and he be going about Jesus Christ. You ain't seen that?
Oh, yeah,
the little Edomite boy.
Kid.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, but see, what happens when our people get in trouble? Every time the first thing comes, oh my God. He ain't answering that.
Full-blown Satanist.
What did he say?
He said, "Oh my God, something scared him." He's
A Satanist. He gets scared at first. He said, "Oh my God." See, that's why Christ said, "These people are hypocrites. They honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me." Meaning, we can talk as if we're true worshipers. We can talk the game. I go to church every Sunday. I ain't missed a day in 30 years. My grandmama, she there every week. And I mean, she's been led astray for 30 years. Man. She's just a complete zombie and a drone who hasn't learned to break that connection. But Christ said, beware of these people, man, because they honor with their lips. Nobody can talk better game about their belief in Christ than a Negro and Hispanic out their churches. But Christ said these are hypocrites, man. They talk about, I guarantee you go over there at any little Thanksgiving, what do they call it? July 4th gathering. And you ask people, man, do you believe in Christ? Do you believe in God? Do you believe in the law? Do you believe in the Bible? Yeah, of course. All day. God is good. Okay, yeah, all the time. But God ain't good to even that scripture. God said God is good to Israel. They leave that part out. I think that's in Psalm 73 or 71. But this is the type of foolishness that they sit out there and say. And then when you say, well, God is not pleased with you keeping this day. You know that you shouldn't be over here sacrificing and burning up swine's flesh. And is that Old Testament? We don't do that. You want to eat all the abominations and everything else. That's why Christ said, this people is far from me. Right? Go ahead.
These people, as it is written, this people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men.
See, didn't we read about that in Colossians? It said, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit after tradition of men and after the rudiments of the world. So, the Pharisees was out there teaching that traditions of men was okay. And here they are trying to condemn Christ, talking about the laws and talking about, hey, your disciples over there eating with unwashed hands. And Christ is like, well, where's that at in the law? What are you talking about? And they defiled. The meat is defiled now. He said, look, the sons of Aaron had to cleanse themselves before they went and service the temple. Where does it say that the average man got to go out there and clean himself before he eats? He said, you guys are hypocrites. Here you are talking about trying to add to the ways of the Most High. You're teaching doctrines of men. No different than what these damn preachers out there doing, because they definitely not teaching prophecy. They're not guarding and being watchmen for our people, preparing them for the day of the Lord. They out there telling our people feel good and prosperity doctrine. Then give blinders down. They're not paying no attention to what's going on earth. And then when you ask the damn preacher, just believe. Don't worry. Jesus got us, man. God got us. It's going to be all right. Satan is working. I know. The devil is busy. But what is it? Is it Satan, man, or is it prophecy just happening in the earth? Oh.
Oh, I hate church.
she got yeah, she got a lot of haters, man. She got a lot of haters.
They do in the chat.
They be in the chat on her head, man. Jesus say, you know, she sound like something straight out of their karate movie. Buddha bless you. Go ahead and finish that. So it said, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Read.
For laying aside the commandment of God, ye hold the tradition of men, as the washing of pots and cups, and many other such like things ye do.
Go ahead.
And he said unto them, full well ye reject the commandment of God.
See, when our people full well reject the Most High, when he says your diet, guaranteed, man, our people is all out there eating anything and everything they can slap on that grill. From the catfish to the pork ribs to the whatever other swine and abomination. You know, the chitlins is probably bubbling right now, stinking up the house. You know, the Negroes got their own tradition with what they do, black eyed peas every New Year and all that. You know what I'm saying? And they putting ham hocks in it.
Calling it good luck.
Yeah, good. Right. Good luck and doing their resolutions. And I know damn well everybody did their resolutions these past 2 years. They like, forget it. I ain't doing it because we just catching more hell. This damn plague is shutting down everything, and my economy, my check is getting hit. Food shortages, gas up. And they don't really understand what's going on because the preacher's telling them, don't worry. Satan's busy, but if you pray, come on, prayer warriors, come on together. Yeah. Pay your tithes, make sure that these doors don't close. Who cares if you lose out in your home? I remember this brother I used to work with, I think his grandmother. She fell on hard times, man. Lifelong member of the church, paid her tithes every year, right? She fell on hard times. She went to the church for help. They gave her a loan with interest. And if the scripture in the law says, man, you're not supposed to charge usury amongst your people, they charge her interest. I mean, she's an elder of the church, man, dedicated, man. Who knows how much money that she kept them doors open. They could have just gave that just a straight arm and said, sister, for your dedication to keeping these doors open and being a faithful believer in what we doing here, how much you need to keep your lights on and the doors open? Here, take that. And Most High be with you. They said, how much? We need to finance a loan for Sister Geraldine. And we're going to add on about 10% interest on every dollar. How's that sound? And she took the loan, and she's still probably going to that church. But that's what they was doing. Teaching traditions of men, full well rejecting the commandment of the Most High so that they can keep their own traditions. Our people would rather keep the 4th of July. Kohav, you said it right, man. Ignorance is bliss, man. I remember Chris Rock, I say it all the time, Chris Rock did some stand-up special. I got to find it. Where the joke was niggas love not to know. And he gave out all these scenarios, and it was like, hey, nigga, what time is it? I don't know. What's your name? I don't know. Hey, what you eat last night? I don't know. Like, it's a defense mechanism for Jake. You know, anytime you ask, I don't know, man, leave me alone. It's like, brother, I'm asking you a serious question, man. I can probably help your salvation, man. Maybe help your household, man. Help your children, man. I don't know, man. I ain't got time. Leave me alone. That's the type of mentality there. I got to find that, man, because I know Chris Rock got that thing. I was dying. I said, man, I don't even like Chris Rock like that, but that was a good one because it's true. Let's go to Proverbs. Proverbs 28 for a couple more scriptures, then we're going to close out. We'll close out that portion, man. I'll open up for questions probably with the last 30 minutes or so. Proverbs 28 and 4.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 28, verse 4. They that forsake the law praise the wicked.
They that forsake the law only praise the wicked. This how you know, man. We live in a bunch of coons. A bunch of coons that our people will sit back and forsake the laws of the Most High. They want to stay themselves in bondage. They don't care about the legacy of what happened to our people throughout history, man. The blood, the sweat, the tears, the children, the alligator bait, all of that. They don't want to acknowledge any of that. They just want to feel good. Well, we just want to be able to have our time, man. The kids love to see the fireworks every year. Why you want to ruin that? We bought the M80s, we bought the sparklers, we bought all this stuff. Let the kids have their time. It's for the kids. Hold that. What you should be teaching your kids. Hold that. Give me Psalm 78, verse 5. Here we go back to lying to our kids again. Psalm 78, and pick it up at verse 5.
The book of Psalms, chapter 78, verse 5. For he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers, that they should make them known to their children.
See, we're supposed to make the laws known to our children, not these traditions of men, not these folly days that's going around here, having our people constantly believing in the false histories that America's presented to us. Believing in the American dream, man. George Carlin said it's called the American dream because you got to be asleep to believe it. That was a cold line from, and he's a damn Edomite. And he was talking about how bad the government is. He said, American dream is a dream because you got to be asleep to believe it. And ain't that the truth? Straight up. He said, so now we got to let it be known to our children the laws of the Most High. Read.
That the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born.
So the Most High said it should be generational that we're teaching our children. It said, even if they ain't born yet, it should be in your minds. When this baby comes out the womb, I have to raise him in the laws of God. You know, there's a brother out there earlier today, man. He talking about he's responsible for raising his kid. Yeah, no doubt. But what you gonna teach him? He's calling himself black. Your child got no shot in hell to learn the truth when you saying you black. Well, I'm doing my part, brother. Who else is gonna care about me? I gotta do me. Yeah, I'm a registered nurse. That's how I take care of my people. That's how I give back. Well, how? Are you out there having private seminar classes, teaching our people CPR? Are you teaching them how to do emergency, tourniquets? Maybe, I doubt that's what he's doing, because he said, I work at the hospital right down the street. Okay, so you working for the white man, man. If a Negro happen to come up in there, okay, you help him. But don't act like you became a nurse that you can get that knowledge back to our people. That ain't what you're doing. So the Lord said, teach our children law, so that the generation to come, they might know them. Read.
Even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children.
See, it has to be generational, man. We want to figure out how we're going to beat this. It has to be generationally that we breaking these things down, man. Remember, the Most High said the curse was going to come. The curse of the law says going to come upon the children unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me. So we have to continually teach it generationally so that we can break free and get our households and our nation all customary to following after the laws of God. It has to be generational. We can't do it just me and then my kids don't follow. No, everybody got to get on board. Read.
That they might set their hope in God and not forget the works of God, but keep his commandments.
See, and keep his religion.
But keep his commandments.
So the Lord said that the bottom line is that we got to keep the commandments. But the glitterbug preachers run around tap dancing up and down the damn aisles in the pews saying the laws is done away with. We ain't got to keep the commandments. Nobody can keep the commandments. Nobody's perfect. All we got to keep is the two greatest commandments. And if you read them too, you will find how you can understandably follow all the rest. But they don't get that. We're no longer under the bondage of the law. The bonds. We're no longer locked down. Christ freed us from that. Oh, so Christ allowed you to go out there and commit adultery. That's what he let you get out there to do, to be a sodomite. Now, come on, brother. You're going too far. We ain't talking about that law, man. We know those ain't. Well, what are you talking about then? You're picking and choosing. That's what these Christians do. Christ freed us from the bonds of the laws. We don't have to keep the law. As soon as you start bringing out different laws that clearly, we should just say it blatantly. Are you married? Yeah. Well, can I have an affair with your wife, brother? Can I go live with your wife? What? No, brother, that's adultery. Well, that's a law. You just said you got free from the law, man. So I'm free from it. What you worried about adultery for, man? Pass your wife over to me. Yeah, brother used to be mad. Brother, you out of line. You can't do that. See, that's not Christ. What are you talking about then, man? I mean, seriously, this is the type of folly that they fall for. If you free from the bonds of the law, well, what law? I mean, can we pick and choose? No, bro, that's too extreme. You going too far. You talk about the dietary law. All things can be received with thanksgiving. Remember Peter dreamt and ate everything. No, it wasn't about food, first of all, brother. But if you saying that we don't have to abide by a dietary law. Do you have a problem with a cannibal? I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer, should he be in jail right now? I mean, he's out there eating up bodies, man. They was gay men anyway. What's wrong? He killed him, ate him. Is anything? Of course that's wrong, man. He murdered it. The law's done away with. What are you talking about murder for? Brother, you're going too far. So you got a problem. You don't got no problem. You turn your nose up when you see the damn Chinese eating dogs and cats and rats. Ew, that's disgusting. That ain't right. Says who? The dietary law is done away with. They can eat what they want. See, but they love their hog mogs and their chitlins and all that other. You can eat pig intestines and everything else, but you want to turn your nose up because somebody eating a dog? I mean, what's the difference? You eating the guts of a pig and they eating the damn the leg of a dog. I look at that as equal. Actually, the chitlins is probably worse. Good Lord. Oh my God. But that's the type of father they do, man. Because they don't teach the laws of the Lord. They don't teach the commandments to their children. Finish up verse 7, then we're gonna move on.
Verse 7. That they might set their hope in God and not forget the works of God, but keep his commandments.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we're supposed to do, is keep the commandments of the Lord. Jump right back over to Proverbs 28 and 4.
Verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
They that forsake the law praise the wicked.
See, if you forsake the laws of the Most High, only thing you are declaring is that you praise and you love wickedness. And you love the wicked, you love your oppressor, you love the white man in his ways, and you rather follow after his ways than the ways of the Lord. And the Lord classifies you as a lover of wickedness. There's no way, there's no getting around that. If you forsake the law and you say, man, the law's done away with, I ain't got to do that, man, it's only because you want to praise and follow after wickedness. Period. Go ahead.
But such as keep the law contend with them.
So if we are keepers of the law, man, we're going to have a problem with how you living. So we're going to have to call you out on it. All right. Jump over to First Maccabees chapter 2 and the 40th verse. First Maccabees 2 and 40 in your apocryphas. First Maccabees 2 and verse 40.
Book of First Maccabees chapter 2 verse 40. And one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done, and fight not for our lives, and laws against the heathen, they will now.
I'm sorry. Read verse 38 down to 40. I'm gonna get a little context on it.
Verse 38. So they rose up against them in battle on the Sabbath, and they slew them with their wives and children and their cattle to the number of 1,000 people.
So this is a rebellion amongst the Maccabean family, led by Mattathias, who's the father of the Maccabee family, 5 brothers that stood up in defiance to the oppression of the Greeks. The Greeks were coming to, make war with us on the Sabbath. And because our people held the Sabbath in such high regard as a high holy day and sacred day, they refused to fight. So they was getting slaughtered. Mattathias and his son said, look, we have to defend our wives, our children, our laws, man. The Most High is going to understand if we're doing good on the Sabbath, we have to protect ourselves. We're going to war on the Sabbath. Nobody can sit back and rely on rest day and just, be cannon fodder for the Greeks. We're going out to war. So that's where they said they rose up against them in battle on the Sabbath and slew them. Go ahead.
Now, when Mattathias and his friends understood hereof, they mourned for them right sore. And one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done, and fight not for our lives and laws against the heathen, they will now quickly root us out of the earth.
So this is what he was acknowledging. When they rose up on the Greeks rose up and killed, our people on the Sabbath, Mattathias made that declaration. He said, look, if we don't stand up for our brothers and fight for our lives and our laws, the heathen are going to wipe us off the earth. That's what our brothers and sisters was doing during the times of slavery. And the white man said, oh, because of the king of England is over there causing domestic insurrections, we need to stop this. All our people was trying to do was fight for our lives, man, and stop having to be serving under oppression and getting whipped and beaten and chained and branded and traded like cards and everything else. And our women being raped and our kids going into bondage and slavery, man. You seen what happened with Dred Scott? So this is what we were fighting for. And that was the legacy of our people. They said, look, we're not doing that. We got to fight. And now the white man said back then, he said, oh, that's mental illness if they don't like being in bondage under me. You don't want to be a slave under me. You got to be mentally ill. Jump over to First Maccabees, the 3rd chapter, and read the 21st verse. So we see there was nothing wrong with our people fighting against oppression, man, and bucking up against the system. Because it was either that man or death. And our people knew and understood that we had to stand for something. And our people should sit back and roll over, praise the wicked, and want to follow after these folly days, man, that had nothing to do with us, but has a dark history in regards to what was happening to our people in real time in 1776 and beyond, and before that. Go ahead.
First Maccabees chapter 3, verse 20. They come against us in much pride and iniquity to destroy us and our wives and children and to spoil us.
In much pride. Isn't that interesting? We just left off of their so-called Pride Month. They still boastfully, pridefully come against the Most High and flaunt it in the faces of everybody that stands on righteous terms. Verse 21.
But we fight for our lives and our laws.
See, it was customary for us to fight and have insurrections against our slaveholders, man, and people that were trying to oppress us. Last scripture, 2 Ezra chapter 10. And let's read. We're going to read 12 down to 22. We're just going to read now.
2 Ezra chapter 10, verse 12. But if thou sayest unto me, my lamentation is not like the earth's, because I have lost the fruit of my womb, which I brought forth with pains and bear with sorrows.
So Ezra is receiving a vision. He's dealing with the sister, and she's in mourning because she lost her son, and now she sought him out, and he's counseling her, and he's getting understanding of what's wrong with her, what's happening. And he says, but thou sayest unto me, my lamentation is not like the earth. Because he said, look what the earth is going through. You're making complaints. I get it, but let me give you some comparisons so that you can actually see a balance on what you're going through. You can overcome, and it's not going to be as bad as you're saying, but let the Most High move in. Go ahead.
But the earth not so, for the multitude present in it according to the course of the earth is gone, as it came. Then say I unto thee, like as thou hast brought forth with labor, even so the earth also hath given her fruit, namely man, ever since the beginning unto him that made her.
Mm-hmm.
Now therefore keep thy sorrow to thyself, and bear with a good courage that which hath befallen thee. For if thou shalt acknowledge the determination of God to be just, thou shalt both receive thy son in time, and shall be commended among women.
So in other words, he said, if you accept the judgment of the Most High is going to reward you. But don't, question or second guess the Most High, trying to understand the condemnation that happened with her, the losing of her son or whatnot. He said that the earth has lost many men from since the beginning of him that made it. Remember, we all come from Adam, all birth. How many of our people have died since then? Read.
Go thy way then into the city to thine husband. And she said unto me, that will I not do. I will not go into the city, but here will I die.
Mm-hmm. So she said, I don't want to leave here. I'm going to die here. She was just in complete mourning. Go ahead.
So I proceeded to speak further unto her and said, do not so, but be counseled by me. For how many are the adversaries of Sion?
He said, how many are the adversities of Israel been going through? Take yourself out the picture and let's look at what's our people going through. Go ahead.
Be comforted in regard of the sorrow of Jerusalem.
So think about the nation. Look at what our people have been going through. You got a personal affliction, I get it. But guess what? Our people have been going through hell and back again. Go ahead.
For thou seest that our sanctuary is laid waste, our altar broken down, our temple destroyed,
Mm-hmm.
Our psaltery is laid on the ground, our song is put to silence, our rejoicing is at an end, the light of our candlestick is put out, the ark of our covenant is spoiled, our holy things are defiled.
Israel's breaking it down. He said the list goes on and on. You want me to keep talking? You got the picture yet? He said maybe she don't. Keep talking. Go ahead.
And the name that is called upon us is almost profane. Our children are put to shame. Our priests are burned. Our Levites are gone into captivity. Our virgins are defiled. Our wives ravished.
Look at that. You think about, our wives back during the times of slavery being raped and ravished. That was still going on back then. virgins defiled, wives ravished, priests being burnt. I mean, you know, the destruction of our heritage in regards to the priesthood are linking up with the Most High. Temples being destroyed. We had no link to get back to the Lord, and righteousness being destroyed for lack of knowledge. Read on.
Our righteous men carried away.
Righteous men being put in bondage, putting in mandingo fights and all kind of stuff. Read.
Our little ones destroyed. Our young men are brought in bondage, and our strong men are become weak.
See that? That's what ended up happening with our people. If you keep reading on down, the angel's going to give him more understanding in regards to how this was metaphorical and showing how the woman is Israel and how she's going to be delivered or whatnot. So it's very interesting how Uriel, the angel, breaks down the meaning of the vision to him. But what we were seeing was all the afflictions that our people was going through, and we be thinking we going through something. But when we look at it as a whole and how that impacts our entire nation, that's when we can get back focused on saying, okay, well, what can I do? What do I need to do to play my part so that the nation can be back where it needs to be? And the first thing we got to do is separate from following after these traditions and these ways of men that's got our people completely lost and confused. All right. So with that, I'm gonna close out that portion, man. I'm gonna open up for questions. If you got any questions, type them in the chat. We'll get to it. I see. I think Yashar, you had a question earlier. You said, "How do you explain Deuteronomy 28:49 to Christians when they say, 'How is it we wouldn't know Esau's language?'" Let's go there. 28, and I think he wanted 49.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
So I'm not really sure how a Christian wouldn't understand that our captives came speaking a non-native language to our people. What they did have was they recruited slaves to come and learn and be indoctrinated to Christianity, even through the Native American slave trade. They took Native Americans from here, brought them back to Spain, Portugal. They brought them back to England, indoctrinated them with Catholicism and doctrine, taught them English, and then brought them back to be interpreters to furtherly indoctrinate and enslave them. They did the same thing with our people. We had overseers and masters and whatnot that were taught. There's documents where you can even see overseers sitting in the church, making sure that the translations of what was being said through the slave Bibles was being said right. Let me see if I can find. I got it on my phone, but I want to see the church service in slavery.
Isaiah 28:11.
Yeah, I'm gonna go there next too. Let me see. There was one where it had the damn white man in the mix. Is that the one? Well, you can see a little look like a little white woman down here, but that ain't the one. There's another one. Where's he at? Damn white man in the mix. It was a pictorial. It was like a picture, but it had the white man sitting right next to the pew, kind of making sure that what was being said. You know, that's why reading and writing was outlawed. Only selective slaves was able to read and write. Just like what's the brother? Damn, we just talked about him earlier. Prosser. Nat Turner as well. But Prosser was a slave that was actually able to read as well. Yeah, I can't find the one. It's on my phone. But they had overseers, man, making sure that they was, interpreting things correctly. Jump over here to where you got Isaiah 28, 9 through 11. So it was through accumulation of understanding the tongues. They had to be taught. They had to be indoctrinated, even with the language. And then it was being taught from a perspective of supervision, where the white man was making sure that interpretations was being said as they wanted it to be said. So when we encountered the slavery, we didn't understand their tongues. After the fact is when we actually started to accumulate their tongues and learn their languages. Go ahead and read that, Isaiah 28.
Isaiah chapter 28, verse 9. Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast.
Right. So them are weaned from the milk, drawn from the breast, those who are ready to receive meat and understanding. Right. So that's what the Lord said. Once one is ready to be drawn from the breast, those who are ready to mature and grow and receive knowledge, the Lord said now he's going to teach that to them when they're ready. Go ahead, because even in Hebrews, the scriptures, was it Hebrews is it 12 or chapter 5, where it says, whom shall they teach knowledge? Well, now need to have teachers. You should be taught again, desiring the sincere milk of the word and not meat. Yeah, Hebrews. I just can't remember if it was 5 or chapter 12. It's 5 and 12. Yeah. Let's read that one too. I'm gonna get that. Let me pull up that in the scriptures too. Let me share that.
Genesis 11, different languages.
All the one tongue at one point, and he divided the languages. Yeah. So we was going to Hebrews 5, Shalakia, Hebrews 5, and it's 5 and 12, right? Yeah. Hebrews 5 and 12. So we see here. Go ahead and read that.
Hebrews chapter 5, verse 12. For when for the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of God, and are become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat.
Go ahead.
For everyone that useth milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe.
So is one the Lord said, let's go back to Isaiah 28. So the Lord said, who's going to teach knowledge? He's going to teach it to the babes, those that desire the sincere milk of the word. But you have to be drawn from the breast, right? Weaned from the milk. That's when we start inheriting knowledge. That's when we get to the meat. That's why the Lord said everybody who's on milk is unskillful in the word. So it's a process of time. But we'll get back to Deuteronomy again. But let's read this 28 and where we at 9 or 10. Go ahead, read 10.
Verse 10. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people.
So we were going to learn through stammering lips and another tongue. We were going to accumulate understanding of languages, even through our oppressors. And now we see why we've got billions of Bibles written in English so our people can understand. We've got Bibles written in Spanish so our people can get the truth. We got Bibles written in Portuguese so our people can understand, French so they can get it. So, that was just one of the things that the Lord said, that they were going to come from afar. We wouldn't understand their tongues, but because of the need for our salvation and our learning, the Lord said that we were going to receive understanding through stammering lips and tongues. He was going to speak to us. So, that's how we got understanding. You can give that to the Christians who are confused about that.
Really combat against the Israelites.
Yeah, God, that's all.
So many different things. I mean, talking regeneration.
They hate Deuteronomy 28. They don't want to do. I mean, it's unreal, man. You said about CERN. I heard a little bit about it. I'm not too well versed on the CERN, but isn't that about them trying to seek out some black hole to get some divination or something? I'm like, so you heard about that CERN?
Yeah, it's really about actually Sakari. They went into it last night a little bit.
Oh, did they?
They said it's about Esau. They're trying to find some weaponry really to combat against Russia. It's about energy because they get a lot of like voltage from that specific area where they go to. So they're trying to withhold all of that.
Are they creating some sort of like little vortex or something, or some little black hole? Yeah,
they're trying to get that energy so they can use it against war. Yeah.
I mean, this is what do you call it?
The triangle down
the Tesseract. You know what I'm saying? From them, the Avengers.
It's just like, they're trying to release these spirits or whatever.
Oh, that's what they're saying, that they're opening up dimensions to.
I keep talking about it with people on my job, and everybody's kind of like, "Siren."
Yeah. I heard a little bit about it. They supposed to be releasing it this month. I mean, there was some Edomite man. You know, he was right with the revelation we're talking about. And I think it's 16, where so the Euphrates is going to be dried up. Then he said, "Oh, but there's the Lord said that He bound 4 angels underneath the Euphrates, and once it's fully dry, the angels are going to come out and go." This is why the Lord said He's not dealt so with any nation, man. These damn heathens come out with all this madness. So yeah, a little bit, man. Brothers were just talking about it. You know, Esau trying to establish and harness some energy power to create a super weapon. You know, it sounds like something straight out the Avengers. They want to, you know, get the Tesseract or the Time Stone and harness that power. You talking about Hydra type stuff. You know, I don't know. You know, Esau is constantly putting out all different types of madness and confusion and distractions. But the Lord did say that He was going to be blessed with the sword and not as a technology and destruction. So, you know, does He have the technology to do it? Who knows? We'll see. But He damn sure can't beat the angels in the Most High. That's a fact.
I was going to say one scripture for that. What's that? So Rock 3, Rock 5. They try to go too deep into it sometimes. Like some of that stuff is above.
Which one?
You know, I think that's in Sirach 3. You know what I'm talking about?
What's it speaking about? Oh, you talking about search not things that's above thy strength? Yeah. That's 3 and 24, I think. Or 23. Hold on.
21. Oh, 21.
Yeah, seek not the thing that's too hard for you. Yeah, that's good.
I mean, CERN, they've been talking about that for years, man. And they try to do, you know, try to bring it out or unleash something, or it's really about them. They're trying to crack the firmament. Because they had I seen a video of them testing a rocket, and it didn't pan out too well, so the rocket exploded.
See that, you know, that's always Esau, man, always trying to, you know, experiment and go into realms that he don't have no business in, and the Most High always shoot his butt down.
How to spell it words?
CERN. I'm gonna pull it up right now. Hold on.
It sounds like harps a little bit too. How harps kind of do with the not just climate control, but weaponizing like certain elements, heating up like atmosphere and certain stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
They actually really get into weaponry.
What? Oh, they saying July 5th is when they're gonna open it up, huh? Let's look here.
I mean, that's what they said.
Try to find a reliable. This one's talking about the satanic particle accelerator.
It's trying to be slick with.
No, Esau, man, something else, man. Oh, yeah. Well, look at it. This is what the Christians say. Let me share this. Hold on. Oh, so this what you talking about? This is Virginia Christian Alliance. CERN reactivates July 5th. Demonic entities. Extra. Shall I give sis? Hold on now. I'm trying to pull something up because people's online asking questions about this. I want to make sure they can hear. CERN reactivates. So this is what the Christians are saying. CERN reactivates July 5th. Demonic entities and extra dimensions, satanic rituals. So that okay, I see what you're saying now. Oh, Stephen Hawking. This creature. That was his technology.
Did he pass away some time ago?
Yeah, he passed away, man. I do remember because I think that's when he started believing in the Most High. Because he switched up. He used to be an atheist, and then he started delving into too far into the damn into the knowledge of the dimensions, or you know, the heavens, and he started talking about the God particle, and you know, then the Most High put his butt to death.
And I seen a brother in the truth that was on the CERN for a long time, and he was kind of bringing in Esau's doctrines, and he found the truth. He started thinking that this was going to take place.
See,
you gotta be careful.
That's what happens. You picking these doomsday dates and all that. See, that's why we read this in Sirach. Sirach 3:21. Seek not out the things that are too hard for thee, neither search out the things that are above thy strength. But what is commanded thee, think thereupon with reverence, for it is needful for thee to see with thine eyes. The things, God dang it. I'm used to using my mouse. For it is not needful for thee to see with thine eyes the things that are in secret. You know, as back in the world when you talk about gambling, man, they always used to say, man, all money ain't good money. And when you're dealing with knowledge, man, you know, everything ain't always solid. And some things you want to stay out of because you can open up different realms of understanding, man, that can get you all jacked up. And that's wonderful. So yeah, they're saying come Monday, CERN is going to be reactivating after a 3-year upgrade to make it the most powerful ever. We urge our readers and listeners to discern and decide. Viewer discretion is advised as CERN performs what many believe are satanic rituals. Go to the source on Rumble and see many supporting resource links. You know, especially when it comes from Esau, man, you really got to be skeptical and saying you're trying to correlate this with scripture. You're trying to correlate this with any type of understanding of righteousness. I'm pausing on that because he don't know. Phenomenon surrounding CERN. Pastor Charles Lawson preached what you hear in 2015 about CERN. So he's been talking about this for the last 7 years. July 5th reactivation of the Calender will be the most powerful yet, and many believe that the purpose is to open up a portal to another dimension, and others believe it will cause power outages and earthquakes. Many other factors are in play, such as the significance of July 5th, you know. So I'm not sure what the Mother Brothers was talking about, if that was something that they were trying to break down, but that's about the most. I'm not going to invest too much of my faith into that technology or what Esau's putting on it. Only thing we're going to see come July 5th, if there ain't demons flying around and power outages and the earth ain't going to hell in the handbasket, then somebody lied. So, you know, we got about 48 hours before all hell breaks loose. So we'll see. We ain't had to wait that long, man. All hell is breaking loose already.
On my birthday.
Yeah, that's your birthday. Yeah. Right. Oh man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, you know what, Shalaki, man. I'll get you 1 second, Kohai. There was brother did ask me. He sent me a message through the phone. Yeah, it's about Leviticus 19:16. For Ramalis. You hit me up with this earlier. I told you I'm gonna get to it later. Hopefully you on. If not, I know you're gonna come back. Leviticus 19:16. Let me make sure I'm sharing my screen, which I'm not. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So he asked about this. He said, what does this mean? What type of understanding they need? Read that, Leviticus 19:16.
Leviticus chapter 19, verse 16. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people.
That's one law that Israel is struggling to keep right. A talebearer is somebody who goes around spreading rumors and gossip and speaking about other people's lives and speaking about other people's matters. The Lord said you cannot be a talebearer. Let's look at what a talebearer is. We're going to look at a definition. Let's make sure that we're clear. You know, Israel loves spilling tea. You know, we love a good little rumor into somebody's household. Girl, did you hear such and such? Her house is all in shambles. Her man cheated on, you know, all of that. That's what our people, the Lord said, but leave that alone. Don't keep running around. And it's also defined as malicious gossip. That means that you're spreading these things with the intent to destroy one's character, to destroy one's household, to destroy one's reputation with malice. I mean, that's like that sister we talked about last night. You know, her purpose was, I want to expose you because everybody think you're a good dad. I'm going live. I'm going to expose you. That's talebearing. And it wasn't even true. So one who spreads malicious stories of gossip, one who tells tales like to breed mischief, one who carries stories and makes mischief by his officiousness, one who officially tells tales, and one who impertinently or maliciously communicates intelligence, scandal, and makes mischief. So, you know, bottom line, a rumor spreader with malicious intent, somebody who likes to gossip, those things the Most High said is unlawful and we should not be doing. Okay. Precept? Okay.
2019.
I got you 1 second. Proverbs 20:19. Let's go there. Proverbs 20:19. We're gonna get that. We're gonna come back and finish up Leviticus 19:16. And then I'll get you Shalai.
No, I just think that was a good question.
Oh, good question. Oh, okay. Kind of. You said Proverbs 20:19?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Proverbs chapter 20, verse 19. He that goeth about as a talebearer revealeth secrets. Therefore, meddle not with him that flattereth with his lips.
Right. So the Most High said that we're supposed to stay clear of one who reveals secrets. So if the sister comes up and she wants to talk somebody else's business, you got to cut her off at her lips. Sister, don't tell me that. Hold on. Why are you bringing that to me? That's not my business. Have you addressed that to that other sister yet? Brother come over. Yeah, man. Hey, man, brother's out of control, man. The brother told me he stole such and such from the other brother. And what should I do? What have you actually gotten active in being a part of going over there and trying to solve the matter yourself? Why are you bringing that to me? Well, brother, you the leader, you the elder. You supposed to be able to go deal with that. No. You should be. You only thing right now is you constantly tell me. Who else have you told? Oh, well, my roommate knows, and then my mama, because I tell my mama everything. Now you a talebearer. You out here spreading everybody business and gossip. You maliciously are going out there trying to destroy people, a man's character. That's against the laws of the Lord. I heard about such and such, man. Yeah, because such and such told me, yeah, he's wicked anyway. Have any of y'all talked to that brother yet? Have you confirmed any of this is true? Well, no, because it came from a reliable source. Who's the source then? You got 2 or 3 witnesses that's talking about this? And if so, then you need to go confront that brother. You need to go handle it. Otherwise, you just run around bumping your gums. That's why I said meddle not with him that flatter with his lips, or flap his lips in the wind. And flattering. Trying to make it sound, I'm not gossiping. What's that old thing from A Living Color? Yeah. I'm not one to gossip, but you ain't heard it from me. Yeah, that's how Israel know you ain't supposed to be doing that. You wanted to, clean it up first. Yeah, Miss Benita. I'm not one to gossip, but you ain't heard it from me. That's what the Lord is saying we're not supposed to be. Don't be a Miss Benita, a Chatty Cathy, or you know what I mean. We steer clear of that. Steer clear of malicious rumors. And if somebody's bringing it to you, man, tell them, man, have you talked to that brother? Have you talked to that sister? Well, no, I'm just saying what I heard. Well, I'm calling them right now. We're going to get him on the phone. Let's find out if it's true. No, don't call. No. You ain't heard it from me. I'm just passing it. Why are you passing it along? You're talebearing now. All right, forget it then. Just drop it. I ain't saying nothing. Just leave it alone. No, we're going to make that call. See, that's when you check Jace. All right, so let's go back 1916.
Leviticus 19, verse 16. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people. Neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord.
Right. So we should be standing against the blood, meaning causing our brother to fall or to die, or not to be there to support them and save them from death. You say we're not supposed to stand against that, man. Setting a brother up, man, for death, and where blood could be on your hands. All right. So there you go. He dealt with false accusations, man, sedition and the whole nine. Remember, he said many gonna speak falsely in what he say? Damn. For my name's sake, he said for many shall do let me see, hold on. Evil shall be spoken in you for my name's sake. Dang.
Here's Exodus 23:1. Thou shalt not raise a false report. Put not thine hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness.
That's let me pull that up for everybody so they can see that one. It's another precept, Exodus 23, first verse. So why does it make me spell it all the way out? So here, not being a false witness, thou shalt not raise a false report. Put not thine hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. So you can't go in to conspire to try to take down a brother if you don't have the knowledge or a sister. You don't have the knowledge of the facts of what happened, and you can't be an upright witness. Then you're supposed to stay out of it. But don't go over there conspire and say, you know what, we're just gonna raise a false report, man. Brother, I'm with you, man. Does that mean we're gonna get rid of her? Does that mean we're gonna get rid of him? Well, fine, I'm with it. And don't put your hand to be a wicked, with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. That means you covering up. He's being wicked, and you acting like, man, I'm riding with you to the end, man. Win, lose, or draw, man. If you lying, if you wicked, we all just gonna go down with the ship. Don't put your hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. You're gonna sit back and lie to protect his wickedness and his evils, so he can still go out there and continue on being more evil. And then when he do the same to you, who do you gonna blame? brother, I protected you, man. I covered up for you. When you did that wickedness, man, I didn't say nothing. I even lied. Man, your wife asked me, where was you at? I told you just left my house, and I know you was at the bar with homegirl. And then when he go back and lay with your wife, you say, what? Hey, brother, you knew I was a, the scripture say, man, nobody pities a snake a charmer when he gets bit. That's why the Lord said, man, learn your lesson. Don't mess with that, man. Stay righteous as a witness. Stay righteous in your judgment. All right.
I think what I was looking for was Matthew 5, 11 and 12.
Matthew 5, 11 and 12. Let's read that. That might be it. Yeah, it's a lot of them, man. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank up. Oh, good Lord. I got to type right. Go ahead. You got it right.
Matthew chapter 5, verse 11. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake.
Right. That's hard to accept. It's a hard pill to swallow. But Yahweh said, you blessed if you find yourself in that position. Man, revile, oh man, he's wicked, he's evil, and you ain't did nothing but the right things. You getting persecuted, all manner of evil, man. Israelites, they in the cult, they wicked, stay away from them. They don't even keep the fourth, girl. They ain't even barbecuing. You're like, hell no, we not. That's evil, man. What are y'all in? Some cult? Good Lord, that's what they do. But he said, but for the name of Yahweh, not because of no other reason, man. If it's because of your standing firm on the scripture, standing firm on the law, standing firm on your beliefs and the customs of our people, and you getting evil, okay, cool. But not because of any other reason. You're not gonna be blessed. We're not gonna be blessed because of that. All right. Hopefully, Romulus or Romalis, I gave you some understanding, man. Kohath, let me get you. Can you give me a couple of precepts to Colossians 2:16? Christians try to use this for excuse to eat pork. Oh my goodness, they do. They love their swine, boy. Colossians 2:16. Let no man judge you, therefore, meat and drink. Pastor Ham Hawks. That's how they swear up and down, man. Read that. Let me put it up on the screen, man, so everybody can get to it too.
Book of Colossians, chapter 2, verse 16. Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink, or in respect of an holy day, or of the new moon, or of the Sabbath days.
Don't judge me. See, well, first of all, what you want to ask him is, well, are you keeping the new moons? Are you keeping the Sabbath days? First of all, what is it? He said, don't judge. Well, hold on. Respect of those days. Do you respect those days? The answer is no. You're already done. But for the sake of argument, okay, let no man therefore judge you in meat or drink, or in respect of a holy day, or of the new moon, or of the Sabbath day. Here's what they're missing. The temple ordinances were still in effect. The Pharisees were still running around commanding that sacrifices be done. Okay, let's go to Leviticus 23 and verse 37. They were acknowledging and saying that Paul was saying, look, there's particular offerings, especially those of sin offerings, that we're not responsible for any longer due to the sacrifice of a Mashiach Yahushua. The Pharisees, especially the Sadducees who did not believe in the resurrection, were saying, hell no. Those sacrifices still need to be brought. We're not following after that. And that's folly. We're not dealing with that. Leviticus 23:37. Let's look at the particular offerings that they were talking about in respect to these holy days.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 37. These are the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering and a meat offering, a sacrifice and drink offering, everything upon his day.
Upon his day. So that's why it's talking about not to and respect the holy day. Let me pull up another scripture, or open up so we can go back and forth a little bit. So we had Colossians 2:16. Okay. So notice here again, it says, let no man therefore judge you in meat or drink, or in respect of an holy day, or of the new moon, or of the Sabbath day. So we just got the reading here in Leviticus 23 and 37, it says, these are the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. So here we are talking about the holy days that need to be respected, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, and a burnt offering and a meat offering, a sacrifice and drink offerings, everything upon his day. So there were specific sacrifices that were to be made for each particular day. Each holy day has specific sacrifices that needed to be made. New moons had specific sacrifices to be made. I mean, Christians don't even know what a new moon is. They have no idea. So they got the nerve to be talking about that, because all they want to do is shove down their mouth catfish and shrimp and lobster and swine. Any excuse to compound their wickedness, right? Hold that, and we're going to come right back. Sirach 20, I think it's 26. Hold on, let me make sure. It might be 25. Maybe it's a little bit further. Hold on. No, it's like 32, Sirach 32 and 17. I'm gonna pull that up for you.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 32, verse 17. A sinful man will not be reproved, but findeth an excuse according to his will.
No, let me pull it up real quick so they can see where we are. So look at this. It's Sirach 32:17, right? So it says, a sinful man will not be reproved. So a man of sin will receive correction. He won't want to be reproved and corrected. We just got to reading earlier in Proverbs 28, where it said, he that forsaketh the law praise the wicked. This is what they're engulfing themselves in wickedness, man. They're being willful. They don't want to follow after the laws of the Lord. All right. So a sinful man, they don't want correction. It says, but finds an excuse according to his will. So they're going to make every excuse in the world because they want to willfully sin, man, and they want it to be accepted. But that's not happening in the realms of the Lord. So let's go back, Leviticus, and read that one more time, 23:37. So just so for context and understanding, each day had particular sacrifices that needed to be made. That's why Paul was saying, don't let any man judge you or meat or drink when it comes down to these particular offerings, because we're no longer under the ordinances of having to make those sacrificial offerings. Okay. Go ahead and read that 23:37.
Verse 37. These are the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering and a meat offering, a sacrifice and drink offerings, everything upon his day.
Everything upon his day, right? Read verse 38.
Beside the Sabbaths of the Lord, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your free will offerings, which ye give unto the Lord.
So these were separate offerings that was being done on the Sabbath as well. So if you read, I think like the first maybe like 7 chapters of Leviticus, it gives you all of the different sacrificial ordinances that were happening for all of the holy days, right? Go to Ezekiel 45:17. You see these damn ignorant Negroes and Hispanics is already out here lighting up. They can't wait. They've been starting in my neighborhood, man, for the last month or two. Really, if you really want to be technical, they ain't stopped since last year, man. Oops, my bad. Okay. Ezekiel 45:17.
Verse 17.
Yeah.
And it shall be the prince's part to give burnt offerings and meat offerings and drink offerings in the feast and in the new moons and in the Sabbaths, in all solemnities of the house of the Lord. He shall prepare the sin offering and the meat offering and the burnt offering and the peace offerings to make reconciliation for the house of the Lord.
So this was when we were making, this was when reconciliation of sin offerings were being made. The prince's part or the high priest's part had to be given so that Israel could make an atonement for these particular days. These were the solemnities that was happening on the Sabbath days, the new moons. We see what it was: drink offerings, meat offerings, burnt offerings. These were the same things that was being spoken of in Colossians. This is why Paul was saying this. Back to 16.
Verse
Colossians 2:16. What'd you get?
Reading in that Colossians started earlier, because they'll use verse 14 and 15 too.
Yeah.
Well, they say the blotting out of the handwriting of ordinances that was against us, which was contrary to us, and it took it out of the way, nailing it to the cross.
Yeah.
So they say that he blotted it out. You don't have to keep it no more. But I do have a precept if you can go to it.
Yeah.
2 Corinthians 3 and 6.
We're gonna read one more. 2 Corinthians 3 and 6. Yeah, if you really want to get technical, we can go through that whole chapter. Maybe we had to come back and do that whole thing for Colossians, but they way off on that.
Yeah.
You know, they're again looking for reasons not to keep the laws. You said 2 Corinthians 2 and 16?
No, 2 Corinthians 3, chapter 3 and verse 6.
Oh, yeah, I'm there. Verse 6. Okay.
2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 6. Who also hath made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life.
Right.
Right, so we're not getting killed or put to death for breaking God's laws at this time, because we do have grace right now, but it doesn't negate the fact that you still have to observe the law.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That you know, when it was in 1 Corinthians 15, we're talking about that the law took away the sting. That's what the Most High removed and gave us the grace and the mercies, because listen, many of our people have already violated the Sabbath in life and been worthy of death. This man that ain't been circumcised on the 8th day, you wasn't even supposed to be allowed in the covenant. You got maybe man could have committed adultery, women could have committed fornication, all that. We would have no shot in hell. If it was left to the letter of the law, we'd have been put to death. But now, through the grace and the mercy of the Most High, we have opportunity to repent, change our ways, learn the right ways, and stay thereon.
Right.
But see, our people figure, oh, grace and mercy, we just get out there and do what we want. We ain't got to be held accountable by the law no more. No, the grace is for you to get it right. We always make them analogies in regards to bills and debts. You ask for grace periods, that doesn't mean you're absolved of the debt. You still could be penalized, interest could be accruing, or whatever the case may be until you pay it off, but you still got to pay it off, even if they give you a little more time. You know?
And it's only the sacrificial laws that have been done away with. That's what they have to understand. Since Christ came, he took away the sacrificial laws. So
right. The sacrificial law for
sins,
yeah,
are in effect.
Yeah, okay.
The moral and the civil laws.
Okay. So, hopefully Koaf, that gave you some understanding, man. If you need any more, let me know. But they're just convoluting the scriptures, man, to be willful, man, and to get out there and sin. Yeah, they trying to eat swine.
They
prophecy on that one.
They're trying to use that first Timothy for real quick.
You already know, man. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and close out, man. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. Koaf, I'm gonna hit you tomorrow, man, regarding the 13th. All right. So that we're gonna close out, man. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. White House. Good questions, Israel, man. We'll be back. We'll do some more Q&As in the future. Gang, Israelites, word on 53rd. Shalom to you, all right? All right. The rest of y'all, man, be well. Enjoy the rest of your Sabbath, man. Let me find out any of y'all out there popping any fireworks, man. I got the stanks of barbecue on you, man. I'm on your head. some of y'all gonna be over there. Well, I ain't really, I'm just going to go visit, man. I'm not really into don't be using them excuses, man. I know some of y'all. Yeah. I didn't eat. I just went over there and hung out and sipped a beer. Yeah, right. Abstain from all appearances of evil. Right. All right. See y'all. Shalom.